the Tigers, it's been a winless winter for Sydney. Tonight, both have the chance to go out on a winning note on AFL Live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the SCG for the final time this year. This is round 24 getting underway of the AFL season 92, and it's the round where the top 6 is going to be decided. We'll have to wait for all that to happen, though, until Sunday afternoon, because right now it's a fight for the wooden spoon. Stevie Wright, sentimental night for him. You can see 2 number 26s out there. There's a little bloke, an even littler bloke than Stevie. That's his son Joshua, who led the Sydney Swans out onto the ground tonight. And after almost 250 games, Stevie Wright is playing his last game for Sydney tonight. He's been through everything with the club, thick and thin, and he's been a great club man. He's been a great player for Sydney. And off goes young Josh. That's a moment he will certainly never forget. But Sydney, well, what a disappointing year it has been for them. In fact, one's got to go back to May the 8th to look when they last had a win. 14 losses on the trot, and they really did hit the depths last week, when at three-quarter time they were down by some 12 goals against the Brisbane Bears. That match played at Carrara, but their last quarter was better, and hopefully they will improve tonight. I'm sure they'd love to go out, dearly love to go out on a winning note, particularly for Stevie Wright. Richmond, well, to be quite honest, they're not that much better. They've lost their last 8 on the trot, and after a narrow win some 9 weeks ago, things haven't gone well for the Tigers. That was when they did upset Carlton back in round 15. So again, it's been a very disappointing season for the Tigers. When they last met, we'll have a look at that now. And you can see Dale Waitman there. It was a big win for the Tigers. This game was played at the MCG in round 9, 19-20, 134. Richmond, Sydney, 14-18, 102. Joining me tonight, well, the old firm's back in town. Peter McKenna and Don Scott. It's just like yesterday, isn't it, gentlemen? Good evening.
It certainly is, Sandy, and although these teams are down the bottom, Don, I'm looking forward to a good game, because no side likes to win that wooden spoon, do they?
No, well, I don't know whether it's going to be a good game. If we had a look at that reserve grade, that was quite pathetic, and let's hope that the standard does improve a little bit, Peter, because it certainly will be trying. And coming into this side is Daryn Kapler. He's on the wing. That's where he won a best and fairest for Fitzroy, and also Gavin Rose into the back pocket, and that was terrific stuff. Stevie Wright running out with his son Joshua.
Now the Richmond side, apparently Chris Nace has the flu and will not play, and Todd Breman is taking his place, and also coming back in that side after suspension, Stephen Jackson. Very good small men there, of course, Knights and Lambert, and of course Dale Waitman getting towards the end of his career, a very good full forward in Hogg. This should be a very evenly contested match.
Right, thank you, Pete. Don mentioned the reserves, and it was a stunning win to Richmond. 27 goals, 23 behinds to Sydney's 12-12. A most disappointing end for the Sydney Swans reserve side. Touch of winter here in Sydney tonight as we check the forecast now in the Mitsubishi Motors ground report. Current temperature of around 14.3. We're expecting an overnight low here in Sydney of 9, humidity at 80%. A wind of some 10 kilometres blowing down the ground. A 1-goal advantage maybe to the side kicking left, but really nothing extraordinarily fierce. The condition of the ground is good. Forecast generally cool with a few showers. Both sides out on the ground. We'll take a break and then be back with all the action. Who is going to take the wooden spoon, Sydney or Richmond? Welcome back to the SCG. We have Richmond kicking to the right of screen, Sydney going to the left. The umpires are Peter Carey and Greg Scroop. David Murphy starting on the interchange bench for Sydney. Fairly muddy centre, but the ground in pretty good condition.
The umpires were tossing the ball up, Sandy, in the reserve grade game.
Yes, that was a one-horse race, the reserves. Let's hope the seniors is not like that. Richmond were far too good. So here we go. It's the end of the season for these two clubs, and I'm sure they'll be out to prove something. Tunbridge tries to win it out of the centre towards Carroll. Can't take it cleanly. Lambert ducks his head, gets caught, tries to shovel the ball out. No effective kick. Nettlebeck now eventually does get it away. Here's a chance for Mitchell. Quick hand pass off to Brunton. Sydney going inside 50, but the kick is poorly directed. The target was Simon Minton-Connell, but the Tigers able to hold this up, and they should get out of strife.
Dennis Carroll playing at centre half forward, named at full back too.
Well, here's Scott Turner coming away from the half back line on to Bannock, who had an interrupted season. The long kick towards the half forward line. The ball hits the deck. Grabbed there by Dunkley, a real goer for the Swans. Dunkley wide, way out towards half forward. This is Troy Luff racing after it. Now he kept it in, taken, no, he's given it straight to David, no, to Honeybun, I think.
Might have gone out of it.
Found a free kick. It's not going to be a throw-in. And a 50-metre penalty. Well, did you see what that was for, Don?
No, Peter, I'm still pondering that myself. I'm a little bit puzzled.
Still, it's been paid by umpire Peter Carey. Someone must have been flattened there, but it's Troy Luff to take it. He gave the hand pass, so he must have been collected after he got rid of the hand pass. So this is Troy Luff to kick from 35 metres, almost directly in front. Troy Luff, the boy from Terrelgan, directly in front. He just, chipped that one, didn't kick through it, and a shocker.
As it was, considering he was going with a slight breeze here in Sydney. But first score on the board to the home side.
Interesting, Dale Waitman there. He's named on interchange lining up. Maybe this could be his last game. There's the free kick. Actually, it was in the back. You can see that.
Well, this is Alistair Scott to bring it back into play. Straight down the centre of the ground. Up goes the pack. Kelly. The forward pocket area. And eventually it was Mitchell who got it down there. It's close to the boundary line. Knocked on towards Dennis Carroll. Carroll still going on with it. But in the meantime, the umpires found a free kick. It'll go to half-back. And it'll go to Alistair Scott. Scott, who had such a tough day the other week against Hawthorn, playing on Jason Dunstall, who kicked 12. In towards the centre of the ground. That's a good mark. Very strong overhead is Honeybun.
Plays on quickly. Hand pass away to Lambert, who goes with the left foot to the outer side. He wants Bannock, and he's playing in front of Troy Luff. Takes the mark just forward of centre wing. Bannock sending the Tigers deep into their attacking zone. Gale was there, couldn't take the mark. Or Kelly could have copped one. In fact, there's going to be paid the free kick at halfback. Paul Kelly being told to go out wide. Could be dangerous. It is going to be dangerous. Neil Brunton was the target, but now Wayne Campbell.
He's done well this year, Sandy.
Yes, averaging just on 16 kicks a game.
And could be in line for maybe a best and fairest at Sydney. He's been averaging, 26 odd disposals a game. It's not a bad effort for a youngster.
Into the square. He goes, no mark taken. Sydney having the numbers there. They don't have the football. Snap is good by Craig Smith, is it? It's a goal.
Well, we're back in the centre of the ground. It's a free kick going the way of Richmond. And it'll be taken by Lennon. Bruce Lennon gives off a hand pass. This is Brian Lees. Lees towards the half forward line. The big fly. And it's been taken by Mark McQueen. McQueen way out at half forward. Brings it in towards full forward. Hogg, pushing the back.
Should be a free kick.
Not paid. Pushed right in the middle of the back on Jeff Hogg. Taken away by Kelly. Kelly wide, right out towards Troy Luff. And eventually it's over the line. But it's a free kick. It must have come off the boot. This is Bannock. Bannock in towards the pocket. Players set themselves a poor kick, and the mark taken by former West Australian Rose. Number 22 for the Swans, Gavin Rose. At one stage, I think, was signed by Collingwood.
He was actually swapped, Peter.
That's right. The ball at half back. That was Strooper. Players going to ground. Kelly working hard. Here's Troy Luff again. Again, a free kick has been paid, and it will go the way of Wayne Campbell for the Tigers. A very good young player. Campbell in towards full forward. Hogg in front. There's
that should be a free kick. Now, why isn't that a free kick against Bays?
Well, this is Lewis to take it away, and he kicks it wide out towards Dennis Carroll.
Carroll playing in front. Recovers. Has to give a little ground before sweeping in towards the centre, and Atkins, he gets caught. Tackled lucky. Too high, and fortunately, as Don said, he's going to get out of it. Atkins will take it from the defensive side of centre. Kicks Sydney down towards their half-forward line. Kapler coming back into this side, has it on the 50-metre line. Daryn Kapler swings in towards goal, but too far left and goes out of bounds on the full in the left forward pocket. Best and fairest back in 1988 with Fitzroy, Daryn Kapler. Scott brings it back into play. Coming to the half-back line, Carroll, Honeybun. Tunbridge, big man, gets the football away. Mitchell applies the tackle at the bottom. And again, the umpire coming in for a bounce. Have had some rain here in Sydney this afternoon. There's Craig Lambert. Bounce once again. Tunbridge just trying to pull it back in. Creswell at the bottom of the pack. His hurried left-foot attempt is partially smothered. Paul Kelly's down there. Tunbridge goes to ground as well. Honeybun has it at the bottom of the pack. And eventually, with a bit of pushing and shoving, we'll find ourselves with another bounce. I didn't get your selection, gentlemen. Donald, who do you think will take the wooden spoon?
Richmond. I think Richmond will win. So I think the Swans will get the wooden spoon.
Right. Honeybun front spot, Mitchell and Atkins trying to force it through. Now down towards Stevie Wright. Was he impeded? Eventually he takes it over the line. Could have been a great moment for him tonight as he ran out with his young son Joshua. His 246th and last game. Been a great man for Sydney. Well played, Stevie Wright.
Very touching, wasn't it, Sandy, to see him run out with his son?
Yep.
It's terrific stuff. A little bit of sentiment left in football.
And ironically, well, not ironically, coincidentally, 246 games, 246 goals. Tunbridge wins it down towards Mitchell as Don tries to work that average out. Atkins to half forward. Nettlebeck's hand pass is good to Creswell. He goes inside 50. He should score. Creswell, 25 metres out. Oh, he's almost run too far, and he has. He's gone too far.
And the Sydney crowd not too happy, but the umpire dead right. And he had far too many paces as he tried to get round onto the right foot to steady. It's a promising young player, Daryn Creswell. Now, this is Brian Lees. To the half-back line, Honeybun as the flyer. The ball hits the deck. Paul Atkins went in to do some shepherding. Close to the boundary line. Quick hand pass around the line, but that was by Scott Turner, who's had a stint at full-back this year and centre-half forward. He's
played well at centre-half forward too.
Well, it's a good honest try. Here's David Honeybun versus Tunbridge. Tunbridge fisted back. Now the umpire's found a free kick in that ruck duel. It'll go the way of Honeybun. So he's at half-back. Honeybun to the half-forward line. Players taking their eyes off the ball. Then, Brendan Gale caught one across the head. There's McQueen. Tapped on by Campbell. He's a very clever player. Here's Mitchell.
This was also good play by young McQueen then, Peter. Sitting down, at least getting the ball going in the direction of goal.
It's at half-forward for Richmond. They lead 1 goal to a point. There's players lying over it. Now it's hit out. There's Kepler to centre wing. Nettlebeck, almost a good mark. Just didn't quite hold it well enough. But that was good play by Carroll to get it to Nettlebeck. And then a good pass to Strooper. Excellent team play by the Swans. David Strooper, former Fitzroy utility player, puts it into that space at half forward. But Richmond read that very, very well. That was Knights and Scott. Now is Maxfield racing away with the ball on the left foot, the racehorse, and a beautiful long kick. But
no, I think he used his body really well then. That was good play by Bays to edge out his opponent, Hogg.
Excellent play by Bays. He is a talented player to the half-back line, a typically long kick, and eventually that's Ian Herman, the former Carlton player, taking it over the line.
Got the job tonight on Paul Kelly. He's tagging Kelly. He's done well in his few games for Richmond, Ian Herman.
Just into the Tigers' attacking zone. Gale could have copped another one there. Play goes on. Atkins tries to soccer it out. Can't do so. It's bottled up once again. As Gale and Lambert pick themselves up, we'll have another bounce. Just the 1 goal on the board. That was kicked by Craig Smith of Richmond. Dunkley gets the hand pass wide, but it's straight to Lambert. Under pressure. He gives it away to Breman, who kicks in towards full forward.
Well
Rose.
Good play.
Terrific play.
Storms out of defence. Perhaps lets his run down with a poor kick, but a good mark is taken by the former rice farmer, David Honeybun. Plays off quickly. Knights gets the hand pass away. Off to Bannock. Runs through the middle. The Tigers doing the bulk of the attacking, but having trouble scoring. Was that a push?
I thought
was that a push?
No. He staged that one, Jeff Hogg.
Bays kicks back towards centre wing. Another good mark taken by Bannock.
I thought that was good umpiring down there then, Sandy.
Let it go.
Yep.
Carroll, that's a poor kick. That's straight to Dennis Carroll. Now here's a chance for Minton-Connell. They call him loaf. Certainly not loafing at the moment, as he tries to keep it in play. Can't do so. And a throw in to take place. He's booted 56 goals in his 15 games this year, Simon Minton-Connell. Just on 15 minutes remaining. Lambert, he works hard. He was at the bottom of the pack again on that occasion. And free eventually over the line with the football. Best and fairest in 1989. Another throw. Sydney looking for their first goal. Chance here through Kelly. Hurried snap in towards Minton-Connell. Went a little early in the pocket, and again forced over the line for another throw-in. Right in the right forward pocket for Sydney. 14 losses in a row. Dearly looking for something for Gary Buckenara and the team to hang their hats on tonight. Well, here's an opportunity. Strooper snaps and bang, hits the top of the post.
This was not a bad shot from there. He should have centred the ball, opened up the goal face, but hit the top of the post, as Sandy just said. And he's been an acquisition. Actually, the two forwards they've picked up this year, Minton-Connell and Strooper, have been real acquisitions to Sydney on the forward line, Peter.
And I'm glad that Allan Jeans is persevering with Alistair Scott at fullback. They need a fullback, and they really have to develop one, Richmond. And although he had that 12 kicked against him, he's got a lot of talent, Alistair Scott. Oh, there's a wild hand pass still in the centre of the ground. Mitchell, he works hard. This is Herman. Ian Herman weaves his way through now. He'll look down there for Hogg. Hogg versus Bays. Bays doing a pretty good job down there. Here he is, Bays. Oh, well done. Great players. He just knocked that away, then went and retrieved it himself. He didn't have time to look to see where that ball was going. So it's on centre wing with Lennon. Towards half forward, it's tapped by Lewis towards the boundary line, and over it goes. Well, this is almost towards the half-forward line for the Tigers. There's some Swan supporters. Not many of them here tonight, but they've had a disappointing season. Now that's Smith getting it across to Lennon, now under Knights. Matthew Knights, oh, well done. A magnificent kick out of the corner of his eye. He saw the leading Jeff Hogg, and he hit him on the chest.
He was on his right foot too, Knights. He's a left foot kick, and he could hook that ball back into the pocket. It was excellent play. Terrific delivery.
Well, look at that. That was a great kick by Knights. Full forwards love those.
So he's their leading goal kicker too, Peter. He's played a lot of full back, Jeff Hogg, this year for Richmond.
Well, here he is. Normally a good kick, but he was on a pretty acute angle and he kicks it behind. And there are a number of Richmond supporters down there behind the goals. There they are, a few youngsters. They've come up. I think most of them have come up from Melbourne, that little group.
5 points the margin, favouring the Tigers as Mark Bays bring it back into play.
Sydney playing the huddle too.
Beautiful kick, Bays. Long and low, heads towards the centre. And mark taken. Atkins waits for the crumbs. Nothing eventuates. And the bounce almost down to the middle. Andrew Dunkley was the flyer. Trying to pull it in with the one hand on that occasion, not successful. Gale and Tunbridge lock arms. Gale tries to steal it. Now it's Kelly. Worked hard but lost the football eventually to Free, who kicks down to the half-forward line. Dunkley again, back towards centre wing. Strooper is his target. Pushing the ball along in front. Good play. Support from Kapler. He's going to need him. He's got to just try and get it out to him. But he can't. And eventually it's the Tigers through Knights who take it down towards Maxfield. He can run on here. No, elects to go for the hand pass. This is dangerous as Free goes in towards half forward. Clean bowls Lewis. Bays is there also. Close to the boundary line it is. It's locked up there in Jeff Hogg. And we'll find ourselves with a bounce in the left forward pocket for the Tigers. Low scoring game. Wooden spoon at stake. And the start of a big weekend of football. Who's going to make the 6? Round the body goes Brunton. Straight to Knights. Too far out to score, but he's going to pump Richmond deep into their attacking zone. Matthew Knights. Left footer. Centering kick. Lewis tries to jump over the pack, loses it, then tries to give it to Bays. A soccer off the ground, goes straight to Carroll.
Good play.
Yes, he'll get them out of trouble. Kepler gives it away to Creswell. Creswell now almost down to the centre. To a vacant half-forward line. Back they go. Out comes a Minton-Connell and bang, gets crunched. Into the pocket. Chance for Scott. Comes back towards half-back. Wants Honeybun. Got a hand to it, but that was all. Minton-Connell, quick to recover, is claimed in a strong tackle with the football. And we have ourselves another bounce, this time in Sydney's attacking zone. Pierre?
Yes, and both sides finding it difficult to score goals. The back line's on top at the moment. That was Honeybun getting it down. Carroll working hard, goes to ground. Well, pack of players develop here, and this will be another bounce. But the ruck contest pretty even at the moment, Don.
Yes, well, both ruckmen jumping early, nullifying one another. Gale's doing well down at the boundary throw-ins down Richmond's end.
Honeybun won that one. And another free kick this time. It will go the way of Brian Lees at half-back. Lees, a good honest trier, started his career at full-back. He's lost weight the last couple of years, looks a lot fitter. And has developed into a pretty good stopper. Now he's given it back to Honeybun. Honeybun to the half-forward line. It's a loose ball over the back. Here's McQueen. Well, it bounces for him. McQueen tries to bring it back, but oh, gee,
he's given that a point.
He's given that a point.
I thought that was out of bounds on the full.
Big doubt about that one. I thought it was out in the full from where we are, and we're right now. Let's have a look. Now McQueen
20 metres.
Might have snuck in. Let's have a look. There's the.
No, Pete.
Oh, that has missed by about 5 metres. That's where you need 4 goal umpires, Sandy. As we see coming away with the ball.
4?
Kepler, 2 at either end you need. I've got no doubt in the world about that.
I thought you meant 1 on each post.
Well, that wouldn't hurt either, because really that goal umpire had no chance to get across it. That could cost the side a grand final one day. As we see Campbell bring it in towards the half-forward line. Now, no mark, although the Richmond player trying to appeal for it. It's still at half-forward. Knights cleverly. Eventually it's Atkins getting it to Lewis. Lewis to half-forward. Good kick, and the mark is taken by Strooper. He's a good, honest goer,
He's
David
improved,
Strooper.
actually. He really has improved this year.
He's a really good player. Half-forward courage shown. That was Honeybun, and he's hurt. Getting into that hole at half-back.
Well, he's Rick Cannon into, wasn't he, on that occasion? Minton-Connell did the job properly by blocking up the whole Honeybun, and it wouldn't help his back. Look at him, eyes on the ball. You can see there is Minton-Connell. That's what every footballer dreads, being caught in that position.
Not right, Rod.
Let's hope he's okay. We'll keep an eye on him. We're back to the live action now as Herman gets the hand pass over to Lees. Richmond out of trouble. From half-back in towards McQueen. Does it well. Trapped it nicely, then kicks long in towards full forward. Here's a chance for Hogg. Possession now, off tonight, should be a goal. First goal to Matthew Knights. And Richmond 2-2. Sydney are just 2 behind. Tunbridge tries to take it out of the middle, but his kick is partly smothered.
Oh, well done, Campbell.
Campbell gets it away. Richmond looking the goods at the moment. McQueen pulls it back in towards full forward once again. Bays is back there. He's been working hard. Tucked in the back pocket. No one to go to, so he swings it round the boundary line. And it will just wobble over, but he's done his job.
Great kick.
Goals to Smith and Knights for Richmond. And Sydney still looking for their first. What a shocking run it's been for Sydney. From centre wing. Atkins couldn't take it cleanly, neither could Knights, but Mitchell can, and he's away for Sydney.
Mitchell in towards Minton-Connell. He's underneath that one over the back. Who's got the pace? It's Bannock versus Luff. Or Bannock got a good bounce. Oh, he's kicked it out in the full. It'll be a Swans kick.
Actually, that was good play by Luff, Peter. Because he put a lot of pressure on, but they've got to do something here. Is this Creswell with the ball?
Creswell it is. Creswell.
He's got to get it out in the open.
He should try and centre this.
He's going to have a shot.
He wants to centre it, but he has to have... Now he is. He's chipping it in. Oh, good play. Still the angles there for Kelly.
Problem, isn't it?
Thank you, Don. Little Mr. Echo there. But Kelly, well, he should really sneak around here. He'd be better off having a left foot snap rather than have a direct shot from here, but looks like he's going the direct kick. Paul Kelly. Now he's having a look across. Swans could do with a goal here. He's having the direct shot. Paul Kelly kicks. He might have kicked this. A good effort. Yes. Richmond lead by a goal as Honeybun taps it down. He goes in to knock it on again. Centre of the ground. Fairly muddy out there. There's Lambert working hard as usual. Shuffles it out wide, looking for Maxfield. And Maxfield normally a long kick. Oh, that's no exception too. Right down the half-forward. Good mark, McQueen. Very, very good mark. He will kick from 45 metres on a 45-degree angle.
Having the set, McQueen, wearing 28. Now, who wore number 28, played on a half-back flank in Richmond's premiership side? Peter?
Let me think about it, Don. Well, Mark McQueen has this kick. And it's an ordinary-looking kick. It sets it up into the goal square. It's thumped over. And it's through for a behind of the Tigers. Jeff Stranger was a real dasher.
Dasher, wasn't he, on the half-back line for Richmond? In
they've had some good half-backs. They've had some good half-backs. I saw one of them here tonight, Graham Bergen.
Bays bringing it back into play. Kapler was his target. Atkins is at the back of the pack. Just tries to push it away from Lees. Now gets possession. Oh, well done. Saw Brunton. Back to Kapler. Good football by Sydney in towards full forward, but taken out of it was Simon Minton-Connell, and Scott is the one who does the effective work. Maxfield's been busy on that outer side, and he's going to have to go again now. No frills player, but he gets the job done. Lees gets it back to him, and look at Maxfield still running. Passes up towards half forward. McQueen almost took the mark. Not going to be paid, and we'll have a bounce. But Richmond almost down to their half forward line for the Tigers. Wooden spoon, Alan. There's the big question mark in the background. Well, I'm sure that Allan Jeans will be hoping no, it will not.
I'm just looking at the flags on that outer stand there, Sandy, and they're definitely favouring the left-hand end that the Swans are kicking to.
Well, the breeze is not very strong,
Peter. No, not too bad. Slight breeze.
At the moment they trail, and that's not good news for Gary Buckenara and his boys. Lewis in towards the centre. Knights again. Again, drifting it into the pocket. Hogg is there. Bay's behind him, and Hogg takes the mark. 60 metres out. The more experienced Tigers now. Jeff Hogg in towards full forward. Sydney have the punch away. Mitchell socketed even further. Eventually it does come back to McQueen, off to Honeybun. Pulls it round his body, David Honeybun. Towards full forward. All good. Sydney, however. And the timely mark taken by Andrew Dunkley.
Well, he's getting better with every game, Sandy.
Yep.
It's a real go. You mentioned that earlier. Started his football with St Kilda under-19s.
Lewis's kick up towards the half-back line, taken by Gray. Off to Carroll. Into half-forward. That's a better kick. Nettlebeck wanted to go on with it. Minton-Connell just chips it up for him. It bounces off his chest and he can't take the mark. Tried to push it forward to Kapler, who was steamrolled. Tigers have the numbers and they should get out of trouble.
Yes, they do it well, Richmond, although they messed that up, the Swans. Here's Brendan Gale. Well done. He put their head down, went hard at the ball. Here's Lewis.
Oh, smart.
Cleverly across to Tunbridge. Tunbridge, a 20-metre hand pass to Kapler, who bombs it in long off the side of the boot towards half forward. Running back with the flight is Brian Lees. That's good play. Hand pass missed by Honeybun. Brunton onto Dennis Carroll. Carroll on the left foot. In towards Minton-Connell, who's got clear of his opponent here. Now, can he get around? Did he have it? How will the umpire see that? Umpire saying he did have it, and eventually it's forced over the line. So it'll be a throw-in, and Simon Minton-Connell not too happy.
Behind play, Troy Gray is all right too, Peter. He was involved in a heavy clash on the left half-back, or right half-back flank for Sydney, but he's up and he's going. That's good.
Well, there's Bannock taking the ball to the line. He had a very bad virus early in the season. As we see Gary Buckenara looking on. What a disappointment for this great former Hawthorn player. He's the coach of the Swans, of course.
And he's not looking much happier, Pete, than when we saw him last week up at Carrara.
Oh, he was very despondent last week. There's Troy Luff putting the ball out on the full. But poor old Gary, that was a really pathetic performance last week by Sydney. And he didn't even want to speak to the press after the game, and I don't blame him.
Scott brings it back towards the half-back line. It's fisted down in front. Herman belts it back, but it goes straight to Carroll. Off the CV Wright. Centering kick, that's a better kick.
Actually, they're working that forward line pretty well and finally come off. They've given Minton-Connell plenty of room in which to lead. They're leaving a bit of a hole at centre half forward and they're directing the ball there. So at least they're working to a team plan. And he is very lively up forward. He's giving them an option. He's not frightened to move around.
56 goals, 39 he's booted. Let's see what he can do as he adds to that with another goal. Well done. Yes, Simon Minton-Connell kicking his 100th career goal in senior footy in AFL. That's a good effort, and it closes the gap now.
It's also good, Sandy, considering I think he spends half his time in Melbourne. Peter, is that right?
Well, he lives the early part of the week in Melbourne.
Bit of aerial ping-pong going on at the moment. That was Dunkley who tried to belt it back to the half-back line. Oh, Knights is in trouble.
Free kick.
Oh. No, Don, they're going to let it go. Carroll gets bumped off the ball. Paul Kelly still going, then tries to get it to Atkins, who could go for kicking in danger there.
There's a free kick Sydney's way.
It's going to be too, and it's going to Kelly.
Oh, didn't see it.
Well,
there was something that happened just off the ball.
So Kelly to take it, just forward of centre.
Good running. That is good running by Lewis. He's playing half back. Sydney's starting to lift their game a bit.
He's going short again. Into the pocket he goes. Now a chance for Richmond to run it out, and they do so easily. Lees spirals it back towards centre wing. As the siren sounds, it's quarter time here at the SCG. In a pretty even contest, Richmond lead by 1 point. The Tigers 2-3-15, Sydney at 2-2-14. Quarter time here at the SCG. Richmond at 2-3-15. Goals to Craig Smith and also Matthew Knights. Sydney at 2-2-14. Their main contributors have been Simon Minton-Connell and Paul Kelly. Gary Buckenara certainly hasn't panicked on the interchange bench, Don.
No, I don't think there's much you can do at the moment either. What Richmond can do, looking quickly at those stats, they're all fairly even as far as disposals go. Hit-outs in favour of Richmond. Yeah, Honeybun's doing quite well. So is Gale, especially around the boundary lines. Tunbridge jumping a little early.
And the Tiger bench
looks like Brendan Gale and holding ice to the neck.
Well, he did cop a couple, didn't he, Pete?
Oh, he copped 2 high ones.
Yeah.
And look, he's got shoulder padding there on the right shoulder. And there's Dale Waitman, the little champ. And there's been a bit of conjecture whether he'll go on next year with his career.
He said he's going to. He'd like to see if he can give 300 a nudge.
I hope he does, because a great effort. He's played football for the last few years with diabetes, having to inject himself every day, and I think that's a great effort.
So here we go into the second quarter here at the SCG. Close, tight encounter. The Tigers are leading at the moment, but Lee's kick is partly smothered, so it goes down to half forward for Sydney, and Nettlebeck shrugs the tackle. Was trying to go out even wider towards Strooper. Back now towards Carroll and Lambert. Lambert's got to give a little bit of ground as he crosses half back. Ball to ground once. What can he do? Another one. Then has a look down for a hand pass. Now they can perhaps start something. The hurried kick is by Wayne Campbell. Former Golden Square boy goes to half forward, but chopped off by Dale Lewis. Lewis's kick, another little chip. Mitchell and centre wing. Well, he threw that away.
Given that off to Tunbridge.
Lewis still in trouble. Tries to flick it wide, and a fingertip mark is going to be paid. Richmond called to play on. Hogg sweeps it long. Now here's a chance for the Tigers. 40 metres out. Shot at goal. Looks pretty good by Steven Jackson, and it is.
Well, you go back to centre wing, and maybe Mary Mitchell should have given that off a little quicker to Tunbridge going past, because he caused a turnover, and consequently it finished up with Richmond. They ran it down well. That's Herman getting involved. It was a good hand pass because Jackson had plenty of time in which to move.
Jackson back in the side. And there's little Joshua, Stephen Wright's little fella, who came out and led the team out in the ground. His dad's last game. Now that's Brunton towards half-forward Strooper. She's a goer. Back to Brunton. In towards full forward, good mark, great lead, good pass, very good team play that.
Good leap too, Minton-Connell.
Well,
he does. In a practice game up at Baronia a couple of years ago, he took a great mark.
He moves around, doesn't he? Moves around all the time, Simon Minton-Connell. Well,
Really?
he's kicked one, and he's kicking from 35 metres directly in front. Former Carlton player, Simon Minton-Connell. Oh, this is close. Let's see the goal umpire. And it's 1 point only, so he does miss a lot of shots for goals.
Well, he broke his knee, didn't he, on that occasion, where it wasn't a straight follow-through. The knee was bent.
He broke his knee.
Yes, well, he didn't keep it in a straight line.
Well, here's Alistair Scott to the half-back line, thumped down by Tunbridge. There's a hand pass. That was a good hand pass too on to Lees. Further afield is Knight's little chip kick in towards half forward, and the mark has been taken by Craig Smith. Now Smith should get this moving very quickly. He's from 55 metres, a long booming drop punt. Oh, chance for the tall ball. Free kick. Should be a free kick to Edwards. What?
No free kick. Play on.
Well, I thought Edwards was interfered with going for that mark.
Just eyes to the ball.
Let's have a look now. There he is back down. He's dragged down, wasn't he?
No, he was already on the way down.
Oh, I thought he was a bit stiff not to get that as Bays brings it back into play.
Goes to the outer side. Chance now for Daryn Kepler to run it out. Long kick. Wanted Creswell. Was edged out at the last minute. Turner gets it away. Richmond now a chance to run it up towards Jackson again, who traps it nicely. Pulls it round his body. He's got Smith there, but it passes him. Pressure now on Gray.
High tackle.
Too high. And Troy Gray.
It's lucky he did that because he threw it out.
From Queanbeyan. ACT gives it across to veteran Stevie Wright. He was the best first-year player way back in 1979, Stevie Wright, as Tunbridge goes to ground. Giving away a free kick was Gavin Rose. Went way over the top. And he'll have to come back to Mark McQueen. There is young Joshua, as Pete said. Oh, he's loving it. He's not concerned that it's Dad's last game.
Well, McQueen had belted through it behind in the meantime when the umpire paid the advantage. As we see Lewis to the half-back line. Troy Gray flies from behind. Here's Bays. He'll put it on the ground. Big Tunbridge started the season off in sensational form. Second half not as good. Here's Maxfield. Long bomb in towards full foot. A chance for Jeff Hogg. Can't mark it. Here's a chance for Craig Smith on the left foot, and he slams it through for a goal.
Tigers sneaking away again. 4-5. Plays 2-3. Tunbridge trying to get it out of the middle. It passes Atkins. Creswell is pushed to the ground. Loses the football. Brunton back to Atkins again. Got rid of it like a hot potato. Maxfield's hand pass is good. He's a real little terrier. Jackson on centre wing. Off to Knights. Matthew Knights steadies. Goes with the left foot. High in towards half forward. Right. With the one hand. Not good enough. Snap at goal is by Todd Breman. And is kicked another one. Tigers running hot. Todd Breman gets his first, and Richmond moved to 5-5, leading Sydney 2-3.
Late inclusion, Todd Breman coming in for Naish, who was injured. But there, I thought that Knights should have gone on his first option. That was his second option, that kick. Players down the field anticipating he'd let the first one go. He stopped, came back, centred it. And there we see Gray off. He copped a heavy one in the first quarter.
Now, someone has encroached into that centre square, and coaches must hate that. It's a Richmond kick. David Honeybun to the half-forward line. Jeff Hogg at the back. Now, push in the back, I think this time the umpire has paid. And I think it'll probably go to Hogg. Or is it coming back? Yes, Jeff Hogg it is. When going for that mark, was pushed in the back. Now, Hogg having a good battle down there with Bays. He is yet to score a goal. There's coming off Paul Atkins. And coming on David Murphy. And Jeff Hogg, normally a pretty accurate kick. He shouldn't miss this one. He's directly in front. There's the drop punt. It looks pretty good. Right through the middle.
All of a sudden, Richmond kicking well clear. 6-5 to 2-3, and the signs ominous. Looking for Sydney for the second successive week.
One thing that Sydney used to have, Sandy, was a real fierce desire. They were fierce tacklers.
Does the side forget how to win, Don?
Well, they do, actually. It's hard to win, and winning is a habit, as is losing. It's hard to break that losing habit.
That kick by Neil Brunton is wide.
But they used to really have a go and really give you value for money. They're just not having a real fair dinkum go as they used to do.
Well, last week, Peter McKenna suggested they should be relocated out of Sydney. What do you think of that?
Well, have a look at the crowd here tonight for a start.
I'm asking Don.
Well, look at Brendan Gale too.
Don's obviously thinking about that. To half back. Tunbridge up with the one hand, couldn't take it. Kelly under pressure, but he does get it away. Over the line it goes.
I will say one thing about Sydney people, they will only follow winners. In the glory days when the Swans were doing well, they'd get 25, 30,000 up here. Tonight there'd be about, what, about 4.
100 or 1,000?
4.
About 4,000, wouldn't there be? You don't think there'd be that many?
Sandy said 15 earlier.
Anyway, let's see if they can rally. They're down at the moment. They're not out yet. Tunbridge and Honeybun jostling. Back to Honeybun again, who goes to ground. Not pretty as Tunbridge eventually gets it out to Mitchell, off to Murphy, and with him as Knights. Murphy still going, or sock it out by 3. Back towards Brunton, close to the boundary line is he. Back to Brunton again, and he's still close to the boundary line. Carroll, what can the skipper do? Centering kick, but there's no one at home. No one at all, and it's actually defensively run over.
Bob Davis was saying a couple of weeks ago, Sandy, that when you run that ball through the goals like that, it should be 3 points. He hates it when they run it over the line like that.
Half a goal.
Yes, he thinks it should be 3 points instead of 1.
Maxfield. Bob does have some different thinking at times.
Scott Turner's hurt too, Sandy. He's limping there on the 50-metre line, Sydney's 50-metre line. He's crashed over, so let's hope he's all right.
Tunbridge loses it to Knights, but Kelly gives the big man good backup support. Paul Kelly's having a good game tonight. Goes back in towards full forward, but a good mark running backwards taken by Tony Free. Courage. In towards the centre he goes. No mark taken. Who's going to be first to recover? Daryn Holmes, the youngster from Lavington, is there. Kelly, his hand pass is quick. Stevie Wright in the thick of things in the middle, but he can't get the football out. And another bounce to take place.
We saw Tony Free running back and taking that mark. He's a tough little cookie, recruited from Lelbert up near Swan Hill. And Lelbert, only a little place, but has produced some good footballers over the years. Now, there's Todd Breman. Towards half forward, there's Mitchell, working hard. Campbell, now Jackson. Steve Jackson on the left foot in towards full foot. Danger here for the Swans. Thumped down by Bays. There's Dunkley. Oh, Bays, good play. Hooks it in towards half forward. Oh, good mark. And let's see who it is. Well, he gets up. It's look at Tony Free again. Geez, strong. On to Turner. Turner to the half forward line. No mark. Mitchell gets it to Lewis. Into the mud patch. There's Creswell. He's looking for Brunton. Oh, Mitchell again working overtime. Oh, well done by Knights. Tremendous play, Matthew.
Now
Knights.
that's better. That's running at the ball.
Well, eventually he lost it. On to Kepler. Kepler in towards half forward. Good play, Minton-Connell. Put his body in and spoil. Now it's Herman. Ian Herman wide to centre wing. Oh, good vision. Because he's found Maxfield. Maxfield in towards half forward. Good kick. Jackson. Now Jackson's looking for a little chip pass here. He's hoping someone will lead. Still looking. And now he's going back to have a shot. He still wants to give off a pass here, Jackson. He's hoping someone will run to a space. No one moving. So he's forced to kick long. Jackson in towards the goal square. Players set themselves 2-on-1 here. And it comes off hands. And through for a behind to the Tigers, who are doing it well.
Sydney, in fact, Pete, have added only 2 behinds this quarter. Been a disappointing performance, and it could turn out to be one that gives them the wooden spoon. Still a long way to go yet, though. Kelly, under pressure from Herman, couldn't take the mark. The latter does well, just centres it to David Honeybun, The big man lopes from centre wing, then kicks in towards full forward once again. Hogg edged out of it, and Tunbridge just floats across and takes the mark. Gets the hand pass out to Holmes. Tucked in the back pocket, Daryn Holmes. A little chip over the top, designed for Neil Brunton. Up towards centre wing, and Carroll takes the mark. The skipper goes on, in towards half forward. They desperately want something. Sydney, Murphy, Creswell gets caught, and it finishes with Knights, who runs through the middle, up towards full forward once again. Hogg and Bays. Hogg can't get clear, but the Tigers have the numbers. It's Jackson across to Knights. Thought about Maxfield, but then elected to go longer, and it didn't come off because Tunbridge drops back and takes it.
He was trying to give that off then, wasn't it?
Yes, well, he's got 50, and he's going to bring him over centre wing. Donald.
His intention was to give it to Gavin Rose.
So Edwards did the right thing,
I think he did, trying to hold him up.
Tunbridge. Minton-Connell out on the lead. The ball just drops in front of him. He recovers well. Controls it nicely. Now he's just outside 50. Centering towards Kapler. Oh, he handled it like a hot potato. Quickly off to Carroll from a standing start. He pumps it in towards Luff at full forward. Troy Luff's got to beat a couple. Almost held on that occasion. He manages to sneak it out to Creswell. The left footer is good in towards Luff. He back there. Got a hand to it. And it eventually goes over the line for one behind.
It's always frightening, that line, boundary line, very close to the fence here. And we saw in the reserves the guy crash into the fence. And, of course, Don, as usual, said to get up to the bloke as he's nearly lying unconscious. The ball at half-back as it's thumped forward by Tunbridge. It's Maxfield. Oh, Tony Free having a good game. Still going on with it, Free. Oh, poor kick to the half-foot line. Jackson, that was clever. Knight's probably best man on the ground at the moment, to Campbell. Campbell, good vision too, on to Brian Lees. Lees will have a shot here from 50 metres. Good kick, Brian Lees. Oh, it just doesn't quite get there, and the mark has been taken by Gavin Rose.
He started on the half-back flank. He's now, what, forward line? Was he running off that half-back line?
Well, Rose has found Creswell.
Oops.
Well, he shouldn't have given that hand pass, should he? That was Lewis. Now Kapler, and they hold it in there. Wayne Campbell's there also. There's the mud patch. It rained fairly heavily this morning here in Sydney, and there's those keen Tigers who know they're on camera. And not too many here, but the ones that are here love their football. There's Holmes, Kelly, a quick kick. The players crash into each other. There's Troy Luff. Oh, good play by Luff. Now Nettlebeck. Oh, Richmond. There's now Murphy. David Murphy has a quick kick. Richmond too good at the moment as that kick sneaks through for a behind.
Don, have you pondered that question? What would you do with Sydney? Persist?
Well, I would persist, but then again, maybe a few games could be tried down at or in Albury. They've got a following. It's a football state down. Well, it's a football town.
Got a good ground there at Lavington, Don.
Lambert takes it from Honeybun. High kick over centre wing, and bustling McQueen comes out and takes a strong mark. Plays on quickly, in towards full forward. Oh, Bayes came over the top. It's got to be a free kick to Hogg.
No doubt in the world about that one.
So Jeff Hogg, 35 metres out.
It's a good clash, that.
Has kicked 41 goals, 18 for the season.
Oh.
Well, he did that earlier, but the umpire gave a free kick to Sydney. He's definitely infringed earlier in the first quarter, doing more or less the same thing.
First minute of play, there was one exactly the same as that. And he knows it, Mark Bayes. He's actually
done... It's a good battle, actually, between those two. It's a good
He's done well, hasn't he, Bayes?
My word, it's a terrific battle, Hogg and Bayes. Both talented footballers. And Hogg yet to live up to that prediction of being a 100-goal kicker, Peter. You said that a couple of years ago, didn't you?
Well, I still think he had the potential to do it, but he's played a lot of football at full-back, and he's played everywhere.
Well, let's see what he can do here. He's kicked 245 goals in his career. Kicking from 35 metres, 45-degree angle, and he's kicked him up. Pulled it badly.
Well, he wouldn't kick 100 goals if he kicked like that. He's missed a couple.
6-7.
Actually, his conversion rate is very good. before coming into this game, he'd only kicked 18 points, 40 goals, 18. That's not a bad conversion rate.
No, that's good. Here's Lewis he's not happy with himself. Full forwards hate missing those. Dale Lewis about to bring it back into play. Now he brings it down the centre of the ground. He's looking for Bays. Good play by Bays.
Actually, that was good play, because what Richmond are doing, having all the outriders, nobody in the centre, Sydney congregate at centre half back, and the ball went there.
Well, here's Strooper. Clever little kick and a good mark in the finish that by Mitchell. Geez, trying hard, Barry Mitchell. Now, sets it up for his forward, Simon Minton-Connell back. Oh! Great marks, Minton-Connell. Well, what a sensational mark, running back with the flight, Don. He was out of position. That
was just fantastic. It's great to have a camera. Look at this for a mark.
Soccer goal, he's marked that one. Threw himself sideways.
And he's hurt himself, I think.
No, he's all right. It won't worry him.
Keep the legs straight as you kick through it, Simon.
Well, he's kicked one, and he is directly in front as he slams at goal and puts it through.
Will that mark and goal Simon Minton-Connell lift Sydney? Let's hope so. As we go back to the middle, it's Knights again who can't get an effective kick away. Paul Kelly decides the best way out of here is off the ground, and that's what he does, right down to the right forward pocket where it dribbles over the line for a throw-in. Under 10 minutes remaining in the first half. This final game at the SCG this year. Tunbridge had such a wonderful start to the season. It's going to be interesting to see how the umpires saw his start in the Brownlow. Creswell, a snap at goal by Creswell.
He's got some natural talent.
My word, he's going to kick one of those soon.
3-7, plays 6-7. Well,
he's got a good
3 goals.
Well, a very high skill level, Daryn Creswell.
Not everyone's interested. That little one's dozed off. Here's Alistair Scott. Good kick out. Luff.
No, that was a free kick. That was a definite free kick. Rose edged.
And Rose went to punch the ball and punched Troy Luff on the nose.
Well, kick is not a good one. It's in the centre with Wright, who hands it out to Strooper, off to Kelly. Now Sydney out of trouble. Up towards Minton-Connell again. This time he couldn't quite take the specky. Creswell is down there fighting to get the football out. He does, but to who? Strooper's at the bottom. He has it, locks it up. Free there with him. But the ball is not free. So, a throw in just in Sydney's attacking zone. If they can get the next one, they're back in business here. After looking down the barrel early on in the second quarter. Gavin Rose gets a high kick towards Minton-Connell, fisted away from him once again, but only as far as half back. Now we see Free pick it up and get the hand pass away. This is Bruce Lennon, wide to the outer wing. A chance for Jackson. If it sits, he's in business. Jackson steadies, chips in towards Hogg. It's a beautiful pass, but he couldn't complete the mark. Wright sees it towards the boundary line and may be quite happy to take it over, although in the end he was forced over.
He's got a lot of talent, Steven Jackson, the way he delivered that ball. Gee, consistency's a problem in his game.
And there's a little fella, Stevie Wright, who's just been a magnificent player for Sydney over the years. He's playing his last game. There he is, the bottom of the pack. He's not as good as he was. He's a lot slower. He always had a big heart, Don.
He's run pretty straight at the ball tonight, Peter.
Yeah, well, he always did. But in the early days, there he is. At the early days of the Swans, he was one of the original players. He was magnificent. There's Lewis taking a terrific mark. He's talented.
He's doing well at halfback, Lewis.
Well, he's got tons of ability. Dale Lewis. An ordinary kick, though. That was a shocker straight to Wayne Campbell. And this guy has had a terrific season. A very promising young player, Wayne Campbell, as he brings it in towards full forward. 2-on-1 here. 2 Swans, 1 Richmond, and they hook it back towards Stephen Wright. And right now, has he put that out in the full? I think he has. So it'll be a kick out there to Richmond. Now, oh, you wouldn't want this man to have it. Todd, no, it's Jeff Hogg. I thought Breman was going to take this. He's probably the best kick in the side, but Jeff Hogg is taking it. will have to kick right on the boundary line from 48 metres. Now Hogg has kicked one. And this would take a terrific kick to put this one through. He's going to have a ping at it. Jeffrey Hogg, the Richmond full forward. Not a bad looking kick, but sneaks it in for one behind only. So with 6.5 minutes of play left before half time, Richmond lead.
He bought the family piece.
6-8 to 3-7 as Mark Bayes is about to bring it back into play.
Bayes. Again, a lovely kick. Lewis, one of the flyers. No one able to take the mark. Out it comes to Brunton. Back to Wright. Again, he chips it wide, and Kelly takes the mark. Picking up plenty of possessions is Paul Kelly tonight. Up towards centre wing goes the kick, but unable to keep it in is Creswell. And a throw-in will eventuate.
If you look twice there with Creswell at times, you think it's Simon Minton-Connell, don't you, with that hairdo?
Here's the throw-in. McQueen trying to get it down to Lambert, but Kelly locks it up. Bannock and Mitchell in late. Herman there also, and another bounce. Gary Buchanara has been quoted today as saying that all side needs is 3 or 4 experienced players, as Murphy has taken off it. How he gets them, he's not concerned, but that's what he'd like.
He might get the first choice after tonight, Sandy, if they lose in next year's draft.
November draft. Rose uses the body. Lambert goes in, can't get it out. Also in there was Stuart Edwards. Smith on centre wing, thought about the hand pass to the player going past in Wayne Campbell, but now goes back to take his kick up towards half forward. The advantage is going to be paid here to Bruce Lennon. Lennon's inside 50, he goes bang towards goal and has popped through another one.
Richmond doing it very well. They lead by 25 points as Matthew Knights comes through centre, brings it in towards Hogg. Hogg versus Bayes. Bayes did that very well. He's got tons of pace. There's Murphy. Now Stephen Wright. And look at Bayes, way down on centre wing. Bringing it in towards half forward. The race is on. Tony free in front of Creswell. And he lets it roll over the line. 4.5 minutes. Go now. Dale Waitman still sitting on the bench. Well, probably itching to get on. As we see Bannock. A high ball in towards centre wing, fisted away, or attempted fisted away by Dunkley. There's Smith. Now back it comes to Lennon. Lennon to the half forward line, some pushing and shoving going on. Good umpiring to let it go. And McQueen, like a bulldog, but he's given it straight to Kepler. Now on to Carroll. They've got the loose man going here. Murphy. Now Lewis. Lewis brings it in towards Minton-Connell. No mark.
Oh.
Now a chance. Creswell, great play on the left foot, but he's missed.
That left foot again. Every shot he's had for goal's been on the left foot.
Well, he did that very, very well. 3-8 to 7-8. It's only 4 goals, and there's a keen Swan fan, but...
His third point too, Peter.
He impresses me, Creswell. He just does some classy things.
Under 4 minutes remaining in this first half, and Murphy marks the kick in. This is danger here for the Tigers because big Brad Tunbridge had drifted down. He's going to play on again. Tunbridge kicked in towards half forward. Troy Luff takes the mark.
I think his mark was really Simon Minton-Connell, who went over his head. Unfortunately, Troy Luff, the boy recruited from Nelson Bay in New South Wales, takes a mark. Did his early football in Traralgon in the Gippsland area, then moved up to Nelson Bay.
See what he can do here. Directly in front. 30 metres out, and they need this badly. Luff's kick. Maybe just snuck it home. That's a bad miss, isn't it, Pete? Directly in front.
That's where he lets himself down, and there's the little Swan fellas who are going to play in the Little League.
They're pumped.
And they're keen. Look at that little fella. He's itching to get out there.
So that's 3-9 now.
Well, You just can't afford that, can you?
And Richmond are 7-8 as the kick into play comes in, and an uncontested mark taken by Scotty Turner. Goes off to Bannock from half back. Over the centre goes the kick from Bannock. Now Sydney have the numbers here, and it's not required because a good mark taken by Andrew Dunkley. He gets it off to Stevie Wright. Right wide to the outer side. Strooper takes it on centre wing. Creswell says go, and he does. Over the top. He wants Carroll. What's the kick going to be like? Not bad if Carroll can keep it in play. Close to the boundary line and now under pressure. He can't. And another throw.
Faded out in this quarter. Dennis Carroll did well the first quarter, but Sydney need him to lift.
Well, 2 minutes. There's Mike Willisey there on screen, but as we see Craig Lambert hooking it back. Oh, good strong mark, Todd Breman. He's one of the best kicks in the AFL, this guy. Let's see what he does with this one. He chips it in towards half forward to Brian Lees. Now it's Lennon again. Lennon or stab pass. Look at that. That is beautiful football by Richmond, and Hogg on the lead has marked about 40 metres from goal.
Good build up by Richmond. A lot of skill in that. There's Lennon.
Oh, look at that. A daisy cutter.
You just can't stop those, can you? No. I mean, Bayes at the hands.
Well, but Bayes can't stop it. No one could because he's very quick. Jeff Hogg going for his second, and I don't think he'll miss this one. He is directly in front. Oh, he just stabs at that one. He'll sneak it in, I think, for a goal. He does.
Back here at the SCG, it's Richmond through Campbell into attack once again. Chopped off by Lewis, who gets it off to Bayes. A wide kick to the outer wing, looking for Brunton. He's there at the moment, and he's got possession, and he's ripped over the boundary line.
He's a good little goer, isn't he, Brunton?
It's a credit to him. He's really fought his way back into this side. Neil Brunton.
Some of the stars from home and away here tonight. Up towards Creswell. Could have been a bit of holding on there, but the umpire says both doing will let it go. Carroll gets the handball over the top to Campbell. This should result in a goal to Creswell. Yes.
Well, just before the half-time siren, Creswell's finally kicked it. He's kicked 3 points. Before that, they were all on the left foot, snapping over his right shoulder. But they really did battle this, and Creswell under a lot of pressure. There's a handball coming out from Carroll, and Carroll across to Kapler. Kapler in turn to Creswell. And Sydney really do need a lift because this could be the winning quarter as far as Richmond are concerned.
Well, there's certainly going to be no time in this first half for them now, particularly as Richmond have it out of the middle through Wayne Campbell. Only seconds remaining.
No, there's a free kick. Kick.
Well, there might be a free kick, but it's going to be a chance for Richmond to answer that quick goal. And that's the last thing that Sydney wanted after working so hard for Creswell to try and get one back. The Little Leaguers have got to wait.
Just came out of the centre too easily, Sandy. They're not manning up there.
David Honeybun.
Sydney used to be so good at the centre bounces.
They used to have a go, Peter, but
they'd rip into it, wouldn't they? Let's have a look at it again. Look, they tripped. Nettlebeck.
Honeybun looking for his first goal. More importantly, the 9th for the Tigers after the siren. Honeybun's kick, it's away to the right. Badly away to the right. And results in one behind. So at half-time, Richmond still certainly holding the upper hand. Richmond are 8-9, 57. They booted 6 goals, 6 in that quarter. Sydney disappointing. They are 4-9, 33. Richmond holding the upper hand here at half-time at the SCG, 8-9-57. Sydney, a 4-9-33. Almost forgot where I was for a moment, gentlemen. But 6 goals, has the bird flown on?
I think he's flown. Actually, this could be their first win interstate because I can't remember Richmond winning one interstate. Can you?
No, but they've looked far the better side, haven't they, Don? Really,
and I think they're going a little bit.
Well, they're getting it out of the centre too easily. We saw a couple of times there towards the end of that quarter how easily they got it out of the centre, and with Hogg leading, and they've given him a couple of easy free kicks by Hogg getting the break and then a good delivery coming down the ground. But not Matthew Knights has had a good game, and their little men, Lambert, etc., just too good for the Swans.
Well, I don't think Lambert's picking up too many kicks. It's really hard to find players that are consistent, but one player that's impressing me a little bit is Brian Lay. Started half back and going on the half forward line. But there's the match stats, and what can we glean from this? Well, they're fairly even, aren't they, as far as disposals go? The hit-outs favoured Richmond, but they've pulled back a little bit, Sydney, in that department. The centre breaks 5-9, so you're right there, Peter, and as much as Richmond just taking it away from the centre.
What's Your Decision is always a popular segment on Seven's footy telecast. We'll go to our Sports World studio now for that with Bruce McAvaney.
Chris Mitchell is our special guest umpire on this week's What's Your Decision, and we're discussing the 50-metre penalty. Chris started his senior career in the mid-80s and he's done 3 AFL finals. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Bruce.
Not really an easy one, I don't think, the 50-metre penalty rule.
It's certainly not an easy one in some cases, but the umpire's got to be very clear and definite on his decision-making in this area because it's such a drastic result.
It is, yes.
But I think umpires now, like any other aspect of umpiring, they've got to be clear and positive, and if they have that sort of frame of mind, it becomes relatively easy.
I guess fans and players are looking for consistency, and that's what we're going to show you in 3 examples now. We'll show 3 examples where Chris will give you the answer and then 4 cases after that.
Well, the main thing to remember here is whether the player is in the contest or not. In this case, certainly the player was not in the contest. He's ran about 3 metres and caused a delay in play. Grabbing the player there, Cormac, and there's certainly no reason for that action.
So 50-metre penalty against Lurs and against Brisbane there.
That's correct.
And the key was that he wasn't in the contest. Now, is Clarkson in the contest with Platten?
Certainly in the contest here, as the ball arrives to Johnny Platten, Clarkson rise at the same time. It's just a simultaneous arrival there, and I would classify that Clarkson is in the contest for that one, so there would be no 50-metre penalty for that action.
OK, so Platten to take the kick from where he took the mark. Now, North Melbourne here, and Jenke taking the mark with Carey.
That's right, Jenke's taken the mark unopposed there, so there is no contest as far as any other player is concerned, and Carey has come in late, so he was not in the contest. So there would be a 50-metre penalty there because the reason that Carey was not in the contest in the first place.
OK, pretty straightforward, though the Carey one was a little harder to pick, I feel, than the first one. So what do you think at home? How would you go umpiring a 50-metre decision? We'll give you 4 examples now. Chris will come back after the break and let you know whether you're right or wrong. So let's have a look at the first of them. It involves Scott Lee and Daryn Bennett, the game between the Adelaide Crows and Melbourne earlier in the year at Princes Park. And do you think that Bennett was in this contest or not? Because that's what Chris has been talking about. Did Bennett have time to avoid this sort of contact with Lee, or was he committed because he was at the footy? Now, Darwin earlier in the year, Williams and Waters from the kick-in. Waters takes the mark. Now, Williams, I reckon that one's the easiest of the 4 that we'll show you. So would you give a 50-metre penalty there or not? Same game. Now, this is Evans and Krasiska. And again, I think the key wording here is whether or not Krasiska's in the contest. Is he just holding Evans up and legitimately, and should Evans take his kick from the centre, or should he receive a 50-metre penalty? Now, night match, Greg Deere and Steve O'Dwyer from Waverley from the kick-in. Deere taking the mark and O'Dwyer coming in and putting a tackle on him and throwing him to the ground. Do you think that should be 50 metres for Greg Deere or not? OK, make up your mind. We'll take a break. Chris will be back after this. Welcome back to What's Your Decision? The topic this week, the 50-metre penalty. Chris Mitchell with us. Chris, we've seen 4 examples. Let's see what sort of a judge the people are at home. Let's go through them. OK,
the first example here, we see the Adelaide player taking a mark there, and there's an undue delay, and besides that, Bennett is out of the contest. Adelaide player taking the mark, not quite sure.
Scott Lee, yes.
Scott Lee's taking the mark there. Bennett is not in the contest, and his actions also caused an undue delay to the Adelaide player, Scott Lee, in taking his kick. In this example here, Williams and Waters meet the ball simultaneously, so there is a contest between the 2 players. There seems to be no undue delay there. Waters has gone to the ground, not as a result of Williams' actions, and it's no 50-metre penalty there whatsoever. This one here, Evans has taken the mark, and Gavin Krasiska certainly was not in the contest. Runs about 3 steps there. Grabs player Evans there, which is causing the delay, and that's a 50-metre penalty. OK, that was quite interesting. What about Deere and O'Dwyer? Deere and O'Dwyer here, Deer has taken the mark unopposed, so Dwyer is out of the contest, and also Dwyer, by dragging Deer to the ground, has caused an undue delay. So that would be a 50-metre penalty there against Dwyer.
So how did you go at home? Did you get them all right? That's straight from the horse's mouth. Chris Mitchell telling us. I've got to ask you one question. How do you measure 50 metres? Because it's not easy.
It's not easy, Bruce. It's one of the skill drills we do have at training. For a lot of people, it's a lot longer than they think. When we first brought in this drill for 50 metres, when we had our own practice of measuring 50 metres, a lot of us were under the actual 50 metres. So it is a lot further than most people would think.
I think the best for an umpire would be for a player to be infringed on the 50-metre line. You can bring him right up to the goal line. Well,
that's what we do, use the landmarks on the ground using the 50-metre line, the goal line, the kicking line there, and the square, which is 45 metres in length. We use those sort of ground markings as to our advantage in paying 50-metre penalties.
Fair enough. Chris, thanks for your time. Chris Mitchell, our special guest on this week's What's Your Decision?
Bruce McAvaney in our Sports World studio with What's Your Decision with Chris Mitchell. Well, in the reserves played earlier tonight, Richmond were very big winners over Sydney, and at half-time in the seniors, the Tigers also lead, this time by 24 points. We'll take a break, then be back with the second half shortly. Quick look at some individual performers, Pete. Firstly, Matthew Knight.
Well, Matthew Knight has been excellent getting it out the centre, 9 and 5. He's a very talented player.
Todd Lewis, probably one of Sydney's better players. That's vindicated by the statistics.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We're set now for the second half. The big question is, can Sydney fight back and not take the wooden spoon? Doesn't look promising as Jackson gets a kick down towards half-forward line. Hogg gives the hand pass away. Here's a snap at goal by Wayne Campbell. What a start by the Tigers in this second half. Campbell gets his first, the boy from Golden Square, and the Tigers kick clear.
It's just too easy out of that centre. There is just not a contest at all. And they just got it out too easily, Richmond. It's just like a training drill. Hogg coming out to meet and then lays it off as he did for the first goal, I think, to Richmond. I don't know who, I forget who, I think it was to Matthew Knight. Handball it on the left on that occasion. There's Rod Carter. Somebody with his grit out there, Sydney.
Yes, he was a great fullback for many a season here, Rod Carter, and affectionately known as the tilt, because he used to put that head on the side as he kicked in. But I'll tell you what, those full forwards didn't get any easy kicks on him. 9-9 to 4-9, and as Don said, they're getting it out of the centre far too easily. Now that was Holmes getting a quick kick towards the half-forward line. Lambert versus Mitchell. Lambert wins out. Good play, Craig Lambert. Brings it out to the half-forward line. The race is on. Jackson, trapped that well. He's very, very mobile for a big man. Here's Maxfield. Under pressure, puts it out of bounds on the full. So it'll be a Swans kick, probably to go to David Murphy out at half-back. Well, they quickly need 2 or 3 goals.
News on Brendan Gale, who left the ground. He's gone to hospital, but for observation only, so let's hope that he's quite okay.
David Murphy. There's been some debate whether, well, he's aged 30 now, some debate whether he'll be with the Swans next year too. So he brings it in towards centre wing, or there could have been a free kick in that pack. Umpire calling play on. Steve Wright in his final game gets it back to Murphy. Murphy to half forward. Strooper versus Leeds. Good contest. There's Lambert going to ground. Now a chance for the Swans. This is Kelly. Goes out to Barry Mitchell. 2 workhorses there. Oh, the umpire.
Kick.
The umpire. No, what happened there? The umpire played the advantage.
He was going to pay it.
He paid the advantage, and then he saw that it was the Swans player had stopped and there was no advantage, so he went back to give the kick. So good umpiring in the finish, Don. It didn't work to their advantage, so therefore the umpire changed his mind and gave Kelly the kick. Good umpiring as we see Kelly in towards full forward. Oh, big fly by Strooper. There's Honeybun getting it to Alistair Scott, and around the corner went Campbell, and he has found Brian Lees out there at half back.
Lees plays on straight away and goes long up towards centre wing. Jackson's going to be the meat in the sandwich, but he just tries to fist it down. We still haven't seen Dale Waitman as Craig Smith gets caught. And he's going to get a free kick. Yes, Waitman has spent so far, Pete, the entire match on the bench. Does that surprise you?
Well, I wonder when he's going to get a run. No, it doesn't surprise me because Richmond are playing so well.
Jackson in towards Hogg. Bayes is having a good contest with him, but it's Breman who gets the hand pass away. This could result in a goal tonight, although he's running around in circles here. Still going, and then somehow gets boot to ball. What a kick! That is one of the most amazing goals you'll ever see.
A good goal, though, nonetheless.
6 goals the margin. Richmond doing it very well. That's Troy Luff down at centre wing. They really need something desperate to happen. Oh, look at that. Poor kick. Very poor kick. As Knights gets it to Breman, he'll bomb it in short. Oh, that could have been a push.
Now, that was
back.
a push out, sure.
Yes, I thought it was that time too. There's Rose. Now Craig Smith. Although Jeff Hogg has been staging a bit for free kicks, and I think the umpire sort of being a little bit aware of that as Bayes taps it to the line. I think if you stage for free kicks then...
But he hasn't been staging.
Oh, a few times he has.
No.
He has
a lot of those have been a contest, but it's been pushed out.
There's Troy Gray about to come back on. Now, here's Tunbridge. Now Wayne Campbell. Knight's been excellent. Oh, clever play, Knights. Very clever play. He is a class act. As he knew he was about to be grabbed, as Dacos does for Collingwood. So he just tapped it on, and then the Swans play great. Now, Matthew, nice kick. Oh, look at this.
No, he's got to come back over his mark.
I thought he was going to sneak off and have a shot then. Knights will kick from 55 metres. And no doubt he'll look for a lead here. Kick. Oh, look at this. Richmond player was in short. Beautiful kick by Knights. In towards full forward. No mark. Hits the deck. Holmes. Kicks wide. Maxfield, the racehorse after it. Good play by Maxfield. He's had a good game. Oh, well done, Stevan Wright. Now on to Kelly. Kelly trying to burst his way through. Kicks wide, and he found Craig Nettlebeck, who's had an ordinary couple of games. He played well early in the season, but the last...
So he could have gone over the top. He's just too slow. Murphy's by himself.
Here's the kick in towards full forward, the big leap. Minton-Connell. Now, there's Lennon. Troy Gray is there. Minton-Connell again. Now Lambert. Oh, Lambert well played as he gets it to Tony Free. And in the meantime, there's a free kick back here at half-back. Now, which way is it going to go? Umpire Peter Carey's there deliberating.
It's going Richmond's way.
And it is going the way of Craig Lambert. So the ball transferred all the way back to half-back, kick to Lambert.
Lambert drifts it back towards the centre. Jackson is his target. He got a hand to it, but that was all. Kelly tidies up at the back. Sweeps it wide. Tunbridge. Well, the big man does well. Hand pass into the space. Goes to Neil Brunton. Sydney desperately wants something. Minton-Connell can't take the mark. Lambert is at the back trying to do the tidying up again. But Mitchell is there for Sydney. Keeps the football in play. Goes over the top. And eventually it's taken over the line. Wooden spoon Allen? I don't think so. The way the Tigers are going at the moment. But Messrs Atkins and Luff. Well, Sydney have their problems. Nettlebeck 18. Honeybun. Strooper in over the top. Tried to pluck it out of there, then lost it as a somersaulting Paul Kelly. Loses the football. Towards centre wing. Smith at the back. Knights running, so too Maxfield. Long and low. Lovely kick. Normally.
He's a penetrating kick, isn't he?
Yeah, gets a lot of distance.
Against Hawthorn, when they were badly beaten, Richmond, he kicked 5 goals, and some of them were on the run from way out at half forward.
The Tiger bench with veteran Dale Waitman. 32 years old. He was their best first-year player way back in 1978. A lot of water under the bridge. Murphy on to Lewis towards centre wing. Sydney at the moment going nowhere fast. That's not what they want. They want goals. They want them rapidly if they're going to be in them. But a good one taken by Free. Stood his ground well. Tigers out of trouble again.
That's Anthony Bannick kicking it to Breman. He used his body well then, Todd Breman, as he hooks it back. Good play to half forward, and a good mark taken there by Campbell. He is a top player.
He'd have to give their best and fairest to nudge Pete, wouldn't he?
I think he's a good thing. Richmond's best and fairest. Not that I've seen all of their games, of course, but every time I've seen Richmond, he played well.
He's about number 7 as far as disposals go in the AFL, so that's not a bad effort.
For a young kid. A good play that was by
And
Breman.
he's played 20-odd games, so, you know, if you're picking up that number, you've got to be well up there.
Well, there's the drop punt. Oh, penetrating kick. Great kick for a goal.
Richmond at the moment have all the answers. Maxfield applies the pressure. He goes in and he gets the football, but he's given away the free kick on this occasion, and it's gone to David Murphy. Started the game on the bench. He just chips to the half-forward line. Mark taken by Nettlebeck. He's not that much closer. But Sydney have managed just 4 goals so far, and we're into the third quarter.
Remember when Craig Nettlebeck used to wear the headband? Well, he wouldn't need it at the moment with that haircut, would he?
No. It's a quiet night, coming up for only his 4th kick. But he fancies himself, so let's see what he can do from this distance. 55 metres out, the drop punt on its way into the square, won't quite make the distance. And a good mark taken by Alistair Scott. Scott gets the hand pass away. They're out of trouble once again. Back towards Breman from free. Breman claims it. Then gets the hand pass out to Lennon. Knight's got crunch, not before he got the hand pass away over to Wayne Campbell. He's in trouble. Ball spills free. Carroll taken out of it. Play still going on in towards the centre. Breman, a hurried kick. Wide to Lambert, who can go on here. A little chip in towards full forward is what he wants. Who was doing the holding on that occasion? Well done by Hogg to flick it out. It deserves a goal, and he's hit the post.
He really does feed it off well, Hogg. He's given away quite a few goals tonight.
Clever.
It was nearly a terrific setup. Quick in the brain, football brain. He's got a very, very quick in reaction, Jeff Hogg.
So a point to Richmond and Stuart Edwards.
Well, you've got to hand it to Bayes. He's been with Hogg on every lead and harassing him and chasing, hasn't he?
Been a good duel, that one. And Hogg at the moment has 2 goals. Both of those were kicked in the second quarter. There's a good mark taken by Daryn Holmes.
He was looking to play on there.
Young man from Lavington. Now they go. Kapler's kick. Over centre. Clean bowls Nettlebeck. At the back is Strooper. Hugging the boundary line was Troy Gray. Keeps it in play. Back to Nettlebeck again. Little chip. Creswell marks outside 50. Well, he wastes no time. He just goes back and goes bang. And it's not a good kick. It goes over the top.
Well, he just he really did neglect the lead. There was a good lead by Minton-Connell. He just put it over his head.
And Minton-Connell gave him a burst too.
Let's see what happens this time. Minton-Connell goes to hammer it towards goal. That's clever play. It's resulted in a goal. Paul Kelly.
Well, let's see if that can get Sydney into action. I found it difficult to kick goals tonight. There's Tunbridge, though, forcing it forward to half forward. Oh, well trapped by Scott Turner. Kicks it to the wide open spaces. Here's a go. Knights versus Brunton. 2 little goers. Off the ground by Knights. And over the line at half forward. 14.5 minutes to go to 3/4 time, and the Swans will really have to get a move on it. They want to avoid the wooden spoon. As we see Big Tunbridge to take on Stuart Edwards. Tunbridge. Well, he wins that one, but not a decisive knockout. Here's Lewis. Now Dennis Carroll. One wonders how much longer Dennis Carroll can keep going. It's at centre wing. It's a free kick going the way of Richmond. It'll go to Lambert. Started this quarter off very well, Craig Lambert. Loves to handball. As he gives it across to Turner. Turner into Hogg. Well, again, Bayes was with him. Good play by Bayes. Still in play, though. There's Craig Smith. Breman. A short chip. And the mark has been taken by Hogg.
It was great play by Breman. Fine Hogg there.
Now, Jeff Hogg has kicked 2. He's missed a few. But normally when he's... Well, there's a great camera shot of this, isn't it? We're right behind him. And we can see the big video screen up there on the right. And this is a difficult shot by Jeff Hogg, but I'm going to back him for this one. As he kicks. Oh, poster. So 2 posters to the Tigers. Yes, a little bit of disappointment in the boys. I'd like to see the full forwards kick those, Sandy. 11-11 to 5-9.
He hasn't had a good night on the scoreboard. 2 goals for his kick tonight.
Lewis to bring it back into play. The left footer going virtually straight down the middle. And the mark taken by former East Perth player Garrett Rose. What about going wide, but elects to go straight down the middle. And a bit of holding on. Nettlebeck was doing that, but the mark still taken by Scott Turner. And away he goes. Towards centre wing. Could have almost been a collision there. Well done by Wayne Campbell to get it out to Bannock. It's an exciting player, Campbell. Bannock's kick to half forward is good. And an effective mark taken by Mark McQueen. Boy from North Hobart. Having a shot from some 47 metres out. Just too strong for Daryn Kepler.
Just looking at the relative positions last year where these two teams finished, and really you have to say that they've been bad years. Both, so this year has been a bad year for both sides. They finished higher on the list last year.
So not a good year for the new coaches, Doc.
That's right, Sandy. Sydney's finished with 30 points last year, whereas Richmond had 28 at the end of the season.
Just proves to me what I've thought all along, that players make coaches. Certainly go a long way. If you've got a champion team, it's very easy to coach.
Luff about to come back on for Sydney.
Nettlebeck in towards the centre. The mark taken by Gray. Could be 50. Down they go. So Troy Gray is going to have a shot. He's going to be kicking probably just inside 50.
Actually, Mark Bayes is now going off. Now, Bayes must be injured.
Yes, he pulled up short earlier when he spoilt that lead by Hogg.
So 50 metres sees Gray directly in front. And they'll be kicking right on 50. Good looking kick, just floats in towards the square, however. And there will be no score as David Honeybun takes the mark. Wants to go on with it quickly, shifts to the back pocket region, but I think he's going to have to go back and kick over the man on the mark. Kick on Sydney Swan, says the sign in the background. They're not doing that at the moment, sadly, for their fans. Dennis Carroll, can he give them something here? To Creswell. Oh, worm burner.
Should have had a shot.
Yeah, perhaps should have gone for home. Honeybun's kick back towards the half back line, and Troy Luff takes the mark. Now Pete won't fancy him shooting for goal. In fact, he doesn't. Just tries to pass it towards Creswell. They're going to lose it, however. Knights, off he goes, over the top to Smith. But Sitsy's in business. He is in business. Maxfield on the outer side. Still outside 50, Stuart Maxfield. Oh. Now look at that long kick in towards goal, but he's just off target and one behind.
At least they move the ball with some urgency down the ground. That's the fastest piece of passage, or fastest passage of play we've seen tonight. They really did move it quickly.
Well, there's Mark Bayes with Paul Atkins, but well, I like Maxfield when they get that ball to the open spaces. He's quick and he kicks such a long way. He's very dangerous. There's Kepler to Lewis. Oh, he was almost off. Two left footers combining then, Kepler and Lewis. So the Swans have a lot of soul searching to do over the summer months. There's Dennis Carroll to half forward Troy Gray.
Oh, that is a good mark.
Now he'll play on. Yes, here he goes. Chips it across. They've got a chance here. Brunton. Now Kelly. Kelly bombs it in long. He's looking for Minton-Connell. Up he goes. Good, strong mark. Had his name written all over it.
Well, we've seen two good passages of play. Richmond, when they went down and scored a point, that was equally as good. He's kicked 2 goals already. Minton-Connell.
Well, he's been a good, terrific player. The Swans this year, Don. Simon Minton-Connell certainly hasn't let them down. Now that's unselfish play. As he gives it across to Strooper. Now he, you know, being a full forward, he could easily have gone back and had a shot then, but he did the team thing, as most full forwards do, Don. Now this is David Strooper.
Didn't get a bite you're expecting, Pete.
This is very cool. Calming down in his old age, isn't he? As we see Strooper kick at goal. Oh, another poster.
How many's that we've had tonight?
Well, we've had 3 in this quarter, 2 to Richmond and 1 to the Swans. This is Alistair Scott, the half-back. Lambert's having a very good quarter.
Just on 9 minutes remaining in this third quarter, Lambert goes long up towards centre wing. And Luff trying to do the work from behind. It's not effective. Turner's kick up towards centre half forward. They're full of run. Here's Honeybun. A chip in towards full forward, but it's not short enough. And the mark is taken by Gavin Rose. Plays on quickly. Gets the handball away. Strooper then takes the mark in the back pocket. Centres in towards halfback. Barry Mitchell. He's picked up a heck of a lot of possessions as usual. Creswell finishes with it from Paul Kelly. In towards full forward. Well, it was holding on there from both.
I think the umpire was dead wrong.
And just let it go. Which is what he did. Through the arms of Tunbridge. Ooh, good work at the back by Stuart Maxfield to do the shepherding. Knights, look at that. Let's go for home, he says.
Matthew Knight's having a terrific game. 12-13 plays 5-10. Now getting back to that Minton-Connell one down the other end. Simon Minton-Connell just staged for the free kick and forgot about the ball and appealed to the umpire. He should have been going for the ball and not worrying about his opponent. And that's why it went down the other end of the ground and Richmond scored a goal. And umpire Peter Carey had a very good view of that incident. He was dead right. Might end up with the umpire's ball after all, Sandy.
I think you're with the MC.
There's Kelly. To half forward. There's Campbell again. He's in everything. Bannock. Now Maxfield.
He's coming
There's
out
that
quarter.
booming kick again. Look at that, 65 metres down to McQueen. Dunkley tunnel balls it. And it's over the line at half forward for Richmond.
Just wondering, when are they going to give Dale Waitman a run? They've doubled the score.
You wonder about his fitness.
Of Sydney, Richmond, but if he was fit, or if he wasn't fit, he wouldn't be on the bench.
Playing.
That's true.
So he still waits his time. Lambert is taken off the ball. Kelly gets a hurried kick back towards centre wing area, but Sydney having a real struggle, as is Murphy against Maxfield.
He might do a Danny Frawley and end up with splinters. Danny Frawley in the interstate game, State of Origin, sat on the bench for the whole night, if you recall, and didn't get a run.
He got splinters, did he?
Well, that's what they nicknamed him down there at St Kilda.
Fascinating.
Riveting.
On centre wing. Splinters. Oh, Pete. Carroll. Eventually gets the hand pass away towards Atkins. Atkins on the outer side. Sydney desperately wanting something. Minton-Connell comes charging at the football, and he's still going, Simon Minton-Connell. This time his hand passes astray. It finishes, however, with Brunton. Brunton's kick is long. It's across the face of goal. Creswell runs into the behind post.
Nearly a Lee Matthews job.
He's okay. He's okay.
He's met the post too.
The end result is 1 behind. Scott goes to the outer side. A long kick. Tunbridge in from the side, couldn't take it. Oh, Maxfield just waits at the back and says, thank you very much. Here we go again, straight down the middle. He gets it across to Lambert. Crunch goes Lambert.
That's where he lets himself down, Lambert, doesn't he?
What, in disposal of being
That was
crunch?
a shocking kick.
Well, he's going
He had time to get rid of it.
Well, here's Strooper in the meantime, gentlemen. Strooper heads for goal. It looks to be away to the right, and Strooper one behind.
Craig Lambert behind play is not too good. There he is on screen. And he really did get Cannon in too.
Yes, but before that he had a ton of time to get rid of the ball and deliver it to a forward.
In the meantime, we have Bannock on the outer side, gentlemen. His kick up over centre wing. Oh, and a good one-hander taken by Steve Jackson. Bit of showmanship as Lambert is being carried from the ground. He's being assisted from the ground. He is walking. He's being assisted.
Now we might see Dale Waitman, is he? Yes, he is finally getting his opportunity. Number 3.
So Lambert's had a couple of heavy knocks. He copped one against Hawthorn early in the game. He copped concussion.
Knights gets the hand pass out. The Tigers at the moment holding sway and doing it well. Breman from the middle, his lovely deliverer of the football. Look at that.
was beautiful. And a full forward can run with confidence at one of those.
Wouldn't Jeff Hogg be wrapped that Bazes off?
Now, the change about to be made. Dale Waitman, veteran of 265 games, comes onto the ground. Been a wonderful player for Richmond. He's been a marvellous player for Victoria. Great state player. Bit of pushing and shoving in the foreground, while Jeff Hogg shoots for his third, his first for the quarter, and he gets it.
Well, you wouldn't believe this is the same Sydney Swans side we've seen just take it up to side many a time up here. Richmond just doing as they please at the moment. There's Maxfield. Quick kick now. Here's little Waitman. He's down there, but Lewis, the juggling attempt.
Playing on the half-forward line, Dale Waitman.
Now, Lewis has had 14 and 5, so he's been one of the Swans' better players. He's found Neil Brunton. Brunton to half-forward. Over the back. It was Lennon. Now Paul Atkins. Now Strooper. Strooper fires in a goal, and David Strooper has goal. So that's his first, and the Swans supporters finally find a bit of voice. 6-12 Sydney, Richmond 13-13.
Well, the advantage was paid on that occasion. The free kick was to Atkins. We watch it here. Ball coming free. Now there's Atkins. He got it. Free kick was for too high, but he got it across the Strooper. The advantage paid.
Out of the middle, Breman from Jackson. Breman's going to get another go at it. He's still going. Eventually it spills free back towards Jackson. Luff can it into him, and he'll take the free.
Holmes is off the ground too for Sydney. Luff is back on.
Jackson into half forward. Carroll, front spot. It was held, said the umpire, when he wasn't in possession, so he takes it. Goes with a sweeping hand pass to Tunbridge from half back. Up towards Creswell at half forward, who's outnumbered. Past Atkins it goes. He's got a back pedal. Mitchell slid across the turf. And in the meantime, the Tigers gain possession and head down towards half forward once again. Honeybun. Also there was Stuart Edwards. He couldn't take the mark, but Edwards is going to butter up again. He gets the hand pass out towards Jackson. Jackson gives a little ground to Breman. Breman to half forward. Back again to Edwards. His chip is not good. Carroll steps in and takes it. And finally Sydney out of trouble through Kelly. A high left footer back towards centre wing. Strooper couldn't mark, just tries to tap it away, but it's taken by Knights. Knights on to Brucey Lennon. Lennon towards Waitman, who used his experience with a little bit of a nudge. It wasn't quite enough. Tried to get it out, and he'll go again, Flea Waitman. Tigers have probably just lifted the tempo with Waitman coming onto the ground. He spurs them on, but it's Tunbridge up to Mitchell. Mitchell's kick down towards Minton-Connell. A diving mark on the 50-metre line.
It's a good mark.
No
good
one
lead.
in the square. He could go right over the top if he wants to.
I mentioned that Holmes went off. Actually, it was Dunkley that went off. He was very sore holding his left shoulder.
Now they drift back into the square, but let's see what he can do. Simon Minton-Connell from 53 metres. The drop punt's on its way. It's a good-looking kick. It's going to be touch and go. Is that a mark in the square? So the Sydney Swans have a chance to add to their 6 goals 12. Troy Gray. He's taken a couple of good grabs tonight.
He's a left footer. This won't be an easy kick because he's a left footer.
Should go back a lot further, shouldn't he, Peter?
Let's see what he can do. I wonder if he'll run round a bit, and he puts it onto the right. Scores it behind. Check side could have been the answer.
Well, there's Craig Lambert, and who's copped a couple of heavy knocks in recent weeks. He doesn't look too good again. But his side doing well, 13-13 to 6-13. And Alistair Scott, obviously trying to develop him into a regular fullback. Dennis Carroll sets himself to the mark.
Smashed away by Kelly, wasn't it?
It was his own teammate. Yeah, poor Kelly.
Sit and all, Dennis Carroll.
Not enough talk. As we see Kelly getting up, he's not too happy, the captain. As we see the bounce, Tunbridge versus Honeybun. There's Troy Gray trying to crash his way through. Now Paul Atkins. Mitchell. Now Carroll again and Kelly combining. This is Paul Kelly in towards full foot. Simon, Minton-Connell, Alistair Scott. Good play by Scott. Used his body very, very well. And as he gives it to Tony Free, there's the siren to end the third quarter here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Richmond well in control of this match at the moment. 13-13, 91 to Sydney, 6-13, 49.
The final round of home and away matches continues tomorrow. Melbourne plays Hawthorn. The D's are going to have a big say. At least they hope to. So too does Adelaide when they play Collingwood. Geelong plays Essendon, who are going to farewell a couple of their greats. Footscray plays Brisbane and Fitzroy plays North. We may have to wait, gentlemen, until 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon before we know the makeup of the six, because West Coast plays Carlton and Saints fans must sit and wait to see what unfolds. In the meantime, it's three-quarter time here at the SCG. Richmond are in complete control of this game. They lead 13-13, 91. Their main contributor has been Jeff Hogg with 3 goals. Craig Smith has 2. Sydney have been most disappointing, 6-13, 49. The big question is, Donald, are they totally out of it?
They are, Sandy. I think they've now made up their minds they're going to win the wooden spoon, because really they're showing no fight at all. I'm very, very disappointed with Sydney. I mean, I've seen other teams fight out the wooden spoon, and they've really had a dip, because it's a disgrace to finish up on the bottom, and you just don't want to finish up there as a team. But this is a goal by Knights. He was going in on his left foot, but he's decided to make it harder for himself, went onto the right and turned into a beautiful goal. He really did make amends for that first mistake. And statistically speaking, he should be Richmond's way, but no, it's not, because Sydney have handled the ball as much, but just obviously going too short and indirect.
Quick look at some of the individual performers. Stuart Maxfield, a real little terrier, Pete.
Yes, well, 11 and 7, but the beauty of Maxfield, every one of those kicks travels 60 metres.
And Creswell doing well. He's kicked over that right shoulder on the left foot, but he kicked one on the right and that finished up with a goal.
Anthony Bannock, well, he was had that illness early in the year, but he's come back with a vengeance, starting to find a bit of form when the season's ending.
Paul Kelly, he's trying hard. He's picked up his 6 possessions, so we say he's doing all right, but what does he actually do with his possessions?
Wayne Campbell, well, what a bright future this young player's got. He's had 9 and 11, but he does a lot of hard work, and he's a class player.
Dennis Carroll, I just don't think he's really fit. He's had 20-odd possessions, but he just hasn't got that zest that I've seen Dennis Carroll play with.
Well, he's getting older, and there is, behind those binoculars is Mike Willisey. I wonder what he's... there he is, Mike, and he doesn't look too happy, and no wonder. And there is the man. It's his final game, Stevan Wright. And he'd be disappointed with this effort, I'm sure, because he was such a gutsy little rover in the early days.
Well, he still is a gutsy little rover. He's running straight and he's giving the first option out.
I'm sure that Sydney will be hoping they can finish on a high for him. Let's see what happens. They trail by 7 straight goals at the moment. This is the final quarter of football in season 92 for both of these sides. As it's socket off the ground, past Wright. He leaves it for Luff, who gets a hurry kick to the wing. The race is on. Kepler, Breman, Carroll, they're all there. Over the top it goes. Waitman spent a lot of time on the interchange bench. In fact, only came on late in the third quarter. Did the veteran Dale Waitman.
Being picked up by Stevie Wright.
Honeybun, Tunbridge. Neither gets an effective, clear tap away. Mitchell and Kelly trying to hold it in there for Sydney. At the bottom is David Honeybun for the Tigers. So Sydney are going to have to really dig deep during the summer months and see what they can do about next year, as Knights pulls it round his body, goes back to centre wing. Jackson comes over the top and takes a good mark. Richmond too have had a very disappointing season, as Murphy takes a good mark. I'm sure at the start of the year they were optimistically looking ahead, Pete, with a new coach in Allan Jeans.
They were. They've had a lot of injuries.
True, yes. Luff has it now, and he goes to half forward. Lewis, was he doing the holding? The umpire says, Dale Lewis, you have the football and you can have a shot at goal.
Now playing at half forward. He did really well the first quarter, half back. His second quarter wasn't too bad either, Lewis. But again, he's a player that's got a lot of talent, but gee, he just can't apply it all the time. A great pickup. He was a mid-season pickup, June draft pickup. Probably the best in a June draft.
Lewis from 50 metres. The loping left foot kick looks pretty good. Looks very good.
Richmond by 6 goals as the Swans trying to resurrect something out of this. Dennis Carroll receives from Tunbridge down towards full forward. Chance again now. This is Creswell looking for Atkins. Back it comes to Creswell, who centres it. Oh, good mark.
He really doesn't look, does he, when he delivers a ball? That's a second or third occasion. You know, made a mistake. He went long once and he's gone short when he shouldn't have done it. Lennon just passed it away again.
Lennon took that good mark, and there's Lewis. Good play by Lewis. I think Lewis has been the Swans' best player. And he finds Minton-Connell. And Minton-Connell, well, there's Gary Buckenara up the back. He must be a despondent man. But this man has been a real live wire all year for the Swans. He just keeps leading and chasing.
Is he going to go back to Carlton next year?
No. Definitely not. Minton-Connell from directly in front for his third. Now he's hooked it. He's missed. Now that is a bad miss.
Now Don asked that question, but the other question is, can he keep commuting and being a part of the team when he's spending half his time down in Melbourne?
That's how I see it, that he is spending half his time. I'm not sure about his training arrangements, but if that's the case, that is not satisfactory in AFL football, really, is it? I mean, if you belong to a Sydney club, you should be up here all the time. As we see Alistair Scott bringing it back to the half-back line. There's Matthew Nysord, taken away by Murphy. Good play by Murphy. That's the David Murphy we've seen so often. There's the big fly. It's thumped the ground. Creswell is there. Taken away by Bannock. Plenty of poise. On to Herman. Back to Bannock, and Bannock's taken over the line. So it'll be a throw-in at half-forward, and that is Sydney Swans' end of the ground.
13-13 plays 7-14. Sydney at the moment just looking for respectability. Freeze kick smothered, but prior to that he was tackled too high, and he'll take it from the back pocket. Nothing wrong with his game tonight, although that kick's let him down. The mark should have been taken by Neil Brunton. It wasn't. It's flicked wide towards Murphy. Sydney may still get out of it. No, he's caught. Miraculously he gets boot the ball, but it's too late. Holding the ball. Wayne Campbell will have to give it back to Stuart Maxfield, who's on the defensive side of centre wing, and Maxfield will pump the Tigers forward again. Long left footer towards the 50-metre line.
Oh, good mark.
Jackson, it's not going to be paid, but he recovers, and that's got to be a free kick for a push.
Jackson can't believe he wasn't paid that mark. He even went over the umpire and said, what about the mark?
Is that 50?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Ian Herman is going to be taken right into the square. Well, almost right into the square.
What for? You can see Dettelbeck saying to Peter Carey, what for?
Ian Herman said he had the 8 games, but he's averaging over 22 disposals, so it's been a good performance, Dom.
Tonight or over his 8 games? It has
Over
been,
the 8
actually.
games.
It's been a good effort.
And he's just added a goal.
97 plays 56. Now let's see if they get out the centre again, Richmond. Oh, that could have been holding the ball against Kelly. Put it on the ground. Murphy was there, and now the umpire will come in and bounce. Might even throw this one up, Peter Carey.
Would you still send them to the border, Pete?
Well,
you're still on with it.
It's a complex issue, and we won't go into it now. But
you're going to sit on the fence.
Well,
now.
no, I'm not.
As doing a Sandy Robertson sitting on the fence, you'll never say anything. You'll always lead us up the path.
Jackson and Lees. Yes, that's right, Don. He feeds out the lines. You get into strife and you open your big
Just
mouth.
like the little boy at school, isn't he? He always eggs you on, and then he's the goody.
Centre wing. As we see Honeybun versus Tunbridge. Now, Over the back was free. That was well done to Knights. Oh, Waitman. And there's that beautiful hand pass to Campbell. Campbell chips it in. Well played by Nettlebeck. Could have received a free kick then, actually. Oh, well done. Campbell, no, over the line. And it'll be a throw-in.
Something must have gone wrong because I always got caught at school.
Well, it's in that forward pocket area. And in fact, it's a free kick there going to Nettlebeck. Craig Nettlebeck, who's played a lot of football at full-back. This year has played a fair bit at centre-half forward. Nettlebeck to the half-back line. Chance for Honeybun with a wobbly kick in towards full forward. No mark to Edwards, almost taken. Here's Kepler, who's had a very quiet night. Kepler, a wobbly one. Towards Mitchell, it eluded him. Troy Gray is there. Gray again with Mitchell. Gray tries to shuffle it out. Here's David Murphy. Good hand pass. Brunton a chance from 45 metres, and Neil Brunton's put it through for a goal.
8-14 plays 14-13 down towards the half-forward line, and Mitchell once again looking for that free kick, just pushing the ball along in front. Eventually gets his kick. It's high down towards Minton-Connell. Can't quite take the miraculous mark. Suckers off the ground. And he's fired up. So Minton-Connell gets his third. 9-14 plays 14-13. 17 3/4 minutes remaining, Pete. Is it out of the question?
Well, at least they're having
at
least they're showing a bit more desperation, Don.
Well, I wish they'd shown it earlier, Peter, because really, well, you don't have to have much ability to show a little bit of desperation, and they really haven't shown any of it.
Well, he's pumped up, Simon Minton-Connell. He's kicked 3. So we're back in the centre. There's plenty of time. There's Campbell. Now, let's see if they can get it. Troy Gray takes it out of the centre. They've got another chance here. No mark to Richmond. Oh, how will they see that, the umpires? Play on. Now a chance for Dale Lewis from 40 metres. Oh, I think it's another one. Yes, it is. Well, they're making a bit of a comeback here, the Swans. Dale Lewis has kicked 2, and all of a sudden they only need 4 goals.
Well, could you believe it? His 2 goals in the second quarter. He started well, and now they're starting to get it out of the centre. There's a little bit of life in this game because it's been pretty dead up until now. And there's Lewis, not much pressure, allowed to come back onto the left foot. And his second.
Light rain starting to fall over the SCG. But the home side on a roll at the moment as Tunbridge plucks it out of the air, only to lose it to Tony Free, who flicks it to the half-forward line. Craig Smith leading in the race, but he eventually leaves it. Waitman is there to assist and goes crunch. Waitman does, however, get it out the back door nicely to Smith. The rain persists. He kicks towards full forward. Hogg is there, but has it pushed away by Nettlebeck over the boundary line for a throw-in. So this small crowd just having, it's like a mouse with a bit of cheese, a little nibble. There's hope.
But shame the rain has come, because Swans on a little bit of a roll then as the big fist comes towards full forward and it rolls over the line for a behind. But at least it gives the Swans a chance, and Kepler's a long kick. As we see the scoreboard, 4 goals the margin, and there's still 16.5 minutes of play left, so plenty of time for the Swans. A big ask, but Kepler should be able to belt this one down towards the centre of the ground. It's knocked on by Tunbridge. Oh, Luff went without it. It's a loose ball. Breman, Lees on the left foot, in towards half forward. Up they go. It's fisted to ground. Chance here. Jackson, cleverly done by Jackson. That was good play to Maxfield, and this could make it very, very difficult for Sydney to get back into it. As you can see, the rain tumbling down. Stuart Maxfield, a left footer. Now let's see if he does the normal left foot act here and hooks it across the goals like Peter Sumich does. Well, so many left footers hook them now.
Oh, he's not as bad as Sumich.
No, I'm not
is
saying
a helicopter.
That's not a bad looking kick. Did it swing back? I don't think so. No, one behind.
Sumich is a helicopter.
His kick.
So 14-15 to 10-14, but that rain is very, very heavy now. And it's going to be almost impossible for Sydney.
Well, it's the last thing they wanted, wasn't it? When they're just starting to get a bit of a run.
That's right.
However, Nettlebeck will bring it back into play. Unsure as to where to go. He'll come grandstand side. He does. Rose couldn't take it. Maxfield, the effective spoiler, and then he applies a good tackle on Luff. Not before he got his kick out.
Oh, that was smart play.
Murphy over centre wing. Sydney can get the next goal here. They'll have something to cheer about, but Lees halts that attack. Drifts across half back, hardly directly, but towards the veteran Whiteman. Dale Whiteman is beautiful handballer off to Breman, who's a beautiful kick. To pull forward, Hogg looking for the free kick again. Will he get back there in time? No, he won't. He sees it over the line in the right forward pocket. And a throw in with the Tigers leading. Jeffrey Hogg, 3 goals for the night. Kicked 2 in the second quarter. There's an extraordinary family. And 1 in the third. 14-15 plays 10-14.
Well, there's Daryn Holmes. So he went without it. Whiteman trying to keep it in play, then eventually it's forced over the line. But really, when you look at the scoreboard, 14-15 to 10-14, it really doesn't do justice to the way the game has gone, because Richmond has looked far the better side all night. Now, here's Kelly. Let's see if the Swans can do something here. It's at centre wing. They're 2 against 1 here as Lees gets it to Honeybun. Honeybun again in towards half forward. Chance here for Gavin Rose. Now they, oh no, a bit of a fumble by Brunton. Wild hand pass straight to Maxfield. And Maxfield on the right foot chips it out towards the pocket. Up they go. Well, players took their eyes off it, and it's taken by Nettlebeck. Nettlebeck caught. Gets in a hand pass. Slippery conditions. Difficult now for the players. Tunbridge off the ground. Carroll, a wild hand pass to Rose. He couldn't take it. Maxfield. Oh, now Matthew Knights. He straightens up from 40 metres, hooks it into goal. Oh, it's fisted back in front. And Knights trying to tap it off. Stevie Wright. Now Barry Mitchell. Oh, Mitchell's kicked it straight out. Oh, the mark dropped there by Honeybun. Slippery ball, though. There's Campbell. Now free. Now Todd Breman. He'll belt this about 60 metres. Have a look at this for a kick. Oh, booming kick. And he puts that 10 metres over the fence. It's a huge kick, Breman.
For one behind only, however, Pete.
No, but what about the length? That was outside outside 50 when he kicked that.
Nettlebeck to bring it back into play. And the rain clears. But, as Peter has said, that ball is going to be a little slippery.
Hey, Danny George.
Tap towards the 50-metre line. Whiteman leaves it for his fellow man, who goes in towards full forward. At the back, there is a goal to Jeff Hogg.
Well, there's still just under 13 minutes of play left, but under the slippery conditions, although the rain has stopped, 15-16 to 10-14, too big an ask. As we said, Breman again, let's have a look. Oh no, he's not going the long bomb, and he finds McQueen instead. And McQueen should be able to score a goal from here, almost directly in front. Mark McQueen yet to score a goal tonight, as he pulls up the socks. 8 kicks and 3 handballs. As he comes in to kick from 45 metres, and he misses to the right.
He hasn't had a good night tonight kicking for goal. That's his 4th point.
15-17 plays 10-14. There's Craig Nettlebeck trying to retrieve that ball. It looks like the Swans for the wooden spoon. They'll get first pick in the November draft.
How great an advantage is that, Pete?
It's only one player, isn't it?
Correct.
Really, when you think about it.
Quite right. Honeybun in front. You see hope, Don, for Richmond? We've talked about Sydney. What about Richmond?
Well, you say on tonight's performance, yes, they've got some hope because they've got big fellows, but I've seen them play this year and they've been quite pathetic on occasion, so it's hard to say. As McQueen goes into goal, and he's kicked it. McQueen's first goal of the night. As I said earlier, he kicked 4 points. A little bit better than last week. He kicked 1 goal 1 as Richmond now start to really increase the lead. There's the high ball. Watch again, it spills to ground just like Hogg got his last goal. Knights goes in. 113 playing 74.
Back in the middle once more. Rain has cleared. Honeybun belts it out of the centre. Taken by Luff, but he can't get an effective kick away. He was just harassed continually. Mitchell gets a high ball, but it gathers little distance, and the mark is taken by Scotty Turner. Turner goes wide to the wing, and Jackson had that mud on his cheek all night. Back to Breman, back to Jackson. The West Australian connection. Not a good kick by Jackson. Dale Waitman is ridden into the ground. The 32-year-old, a veteran of 265 games, take the free kick. It's not a good one. Murphy just floats across that half-back line to take it and is called to play on now. David Murphy from half-back goes out towards centre wing. Again, Richmond has the numbers. It's Matthew Knights tidying up. In towards the pocket, and Hogg he goes, who's crunched to the ground, and he'll get a free kick.
Good mark, wasn't it? He knew he was going to cop it then, Jeff Hogg.
Stood his ground and held on to the football too.
Really didn't have eyes for the ball on that occasion.
So Hogg going for goal number 5.
It was Holmes coming in to put that heavy, I don't know what you'd call it, heavy bump.
Jeff Hogg's looked far more confident with Mark Bayes off the ground, hasn't he?
Yes, he scored, in fact, only 3 goals against Bayes, and he's looking for his second this quarter. He's got it, I think. He has, so that's a game tally of 5 for Jeff Hogg, and Richmond again cruise away. Sydney teased for a moment, but now Richmond regain the ascendancy, 17-17 to 10-14.
Well, and that rain made a difference as far as the ball handling went, but it was Richmond who capitalised with 2 goals whilst the rain was falling. Ball very slippery. Maybe you could ask the question, was that really, or could that warrant a 50-metre penalty on Hogg?
Well, well done, Tunbridge, out of the centre. As he brings it to the halfway line, Atkins. Paul Atkins, oh, good hand pass to Kelly. Kelly races into goal. So often this year I've seen Paul Kelly miss goals from 30 to 35 metres. He does it time and time again. And you just can't afford that. As we see Alistair Scott bring it to the half-back line. David Murphy, the flyer. Strooper, beaten by Brian Lees. Now it's Mitchell. If he'll be there with the Swans next year. Well done, Simon Minton-Connell. Leads straight up the middle, and Mitchell kicks it to him. Minton-Connell has kicked 3. Real live wire up there at full forward. Now, can he make the distance from about 48 metres? A good-looking kick right through the middle. So Simon Minton-Connell has kicked 4, and the Swans, he's still pretty chirpy. He's running around congratulating teammates. It's 17-17 to 11-15.
Well, there's some real faithful supporters, as you see. They're here every week supporting Sydney. They'd be very disappointed with their team's effort tonight. Minton-Connell, a bright light up forward.
Out of the middle. Maxwell trying to get Richmond going again. Across to Waitman. His kick is partly smothered. He'll go back and have another dip though, Fleet. Nothing surer. There he is at the bottom of the pack. Murphy, however, steals it, gives it to Kelly. Kelly off to the running right. Stevie Wright, will you finish with a goal? No, he unselfishly centres the ball. He was looking for Minton-Connell. Couldn't find him. Here's an opportunity now for Gray. Snap goes away to the right.
He's going to put one of those left-footers through one day. He's got a vicious hook, hasn't he? All his points have come from those left-foot snaps.
How many points has he kicked?
I think you're thinking of Creswell.
Oh, Creswell, I'm sorry.
That was Troy Gray, number 48.
Well, that's his second point for the night anyway. Yeah, I was thinking of Creswell, actually. Very late in the night.
Scott brings it back. Goes to the outer side. Free. And he has been for quite a lot of the evening. Breman towards centre wing. Smith was looking towards Jackson, who's continuing to hassle and then just paddle the ball along in front. It was effective play. Wright out of half back. Murphy's in the middle. And he starts something here. Gets away from Maxfield. Goes up towards the half forward line. But the mark not taken by Atkins, who was the player he wanted. Instead, it's been marked by Bannock.
Anthony Bannock, a very promising young player. 13 kicks and 2 handballs, and he's got tremendous poise. Bannock, centre wing. Brunton versus Knights. A good clash. Well done, Matthew Knights. Quick kick lands with Murphy. Now Murphy to Kepler. Kepler will bomb this one in long. He's looking for Minton-Connell. Minton-Connell, oh, nearly a good mark. Bad luck. Carroll on the left foot. Kicks it in and puts it through for a good goal. So Dennis Carroll has kicked his first. 7 minutes to go. The Swans have moved on to 12-16 to Richmond 17-17.
Well, as Peter said earlier, it's not a true indication of the game. Just adding a little bit of respectability to their score. They scored 19 points, or 14 points the first quarter, 19 the second, and 16 in the third. Sydney, and this is their best quarter to date.
(17-17) plays 12-16 down to the last 7 minutes of the game. Troy Luff around his body towards Troy Gray. Troy's everywhere. Creswell couldn't mark. Good hustling by Free, who eventually sees it over the line.
He's taken Creswell out of the game, Don.
He's got some ability, Creswell, hasn't he? He's just a youngster that you've got to, I suppose, persevere with. Give the opportunity. I suppose Strooper is one player that's got the opportunity this year. When he was at Fitzroy, very inconsistent. Play one good game and then go out. But if a player gets some exposure, in a lot of cases they do gain in confidence and they become a more consistent player.
I think Don was right earlier, Pete. He is suffering a little from tiredness.
Yes, Tony Freeze played a good game down there in defence, as we see Breman doing. There's Creswell. Good hand pass too to Brunton. Now Mitchell. Let's hope he's playing with the Swans next year. They can't afford to lose their very good players. Here's Carroll.
You think he might go to Carlton?
Well, I don't know. There's been a lot of talk. There's a good mark to... Oh, my goodness me. Lewis, that was a dead set clear mark, not paid. Here he is. He might get a goal out of it anyway.
Oh.
He chips it in short and he found Stevie Wright, your little beauty. I hope he kicks this. Wouldn't that be fitting if Steve Wright kicked the goal in his last game?
Yeah, the Sydney supporters, the ones that are here, getting behind Wright, they realise this is his last game.
246 AFL games, a magnificent achievement by little Stevie Wright as he kicks and he's put it through.
And that was his 247th career goal. Terrific effort. There's his son,
Joshua.
I wonder if Joshua saw his dad kick that goal or he's more interested in that toffee he's eating.
That's terrific. Good to see that.
(13-16) plays 17-17. So Sydney again closing the gap. But one fears they are only teasing. Maxfield running down the wing, has his kick partly smothered by Wright, but the bouncing ball eludes almost all. Look at that bump applied by Maxfield. Ball spills free. It's taken by Kepler after the quick hand pass from Rose. Now Lewis on centre wing. Dale Lewis, low left footer, goes up towards Minton-Connell. He marks on the 50-metre line.
That's a bit of class, wasn't it? It started with Wright down the other end of the ground. He got the ball and he just didn't have it reefed out of his hands.
He's going for home, Simon Minton-Connell, with a long bomb. He's off target. Might be home.
4-3 tonight, Simon Minton-Connell.
13-17.
Well, it doesn't look so bad on the scoreboard now, does it?
Well, it's back to that 4-goal margin that they were able to close it down to earlier on.
If they could sneak another couple before the end of the game.
I think that's a big ask. There's only 4 minutes to go, Pete.
Well, I mean, if they could kick 2 goals in that time. Well, at the back, Matthew Knights, or at the side I should say, he had no one to give it to, so he just belted that along the ground. Here's Troy Luff running at it, and he puts it over the line. As the time clock shows, exactly 4 minutes of play left. The ball on centre wing. As Tunbridge comes in to do battle with Honeybun. The last 4 minutes for the year for all these players out there tonight is Waitman, Brunton, Maxfield went without it. Oh, the umpire almost gave the free kick, and now Peter Carey will come in and bounce.
On centre wing. His last game for the season for many. I wonder how many it'll be their last game, full stop. We know, of course, Wright has won. Will there be more casualties?
A couple out there. David Murphy, Dale Waitman.
Still on centre wing. Neil Brunton kicked a goal earlier in the quarter. Gets a high kick that doesn't travel a great distance, and we'll have another ball up. We're just going through the final moments. They have had a number of loyal supporters up here, though, despite their dismal season.
Particularly that group down there behind the goals.
Well, they are just dead set stayers. Racing terms, 2 milers, people.
Former Port Melbourne people, and used to barrack for Port, and of course the old South Melbourne when they played down at the famous Lakeside Oval. Many happy days down there, Sandy.
Yes, we certainly did. Certainly did. From the throw-in, Kelly goes through, gets the hand pass out, but goes straight to Knights. He gives it away quickly to Herman, who goes to Wayne Campbell. The boy from Golden Square is right on the boundary line, and he sees it over. Somewhat wintry conditions have set in just in this last quarter. We've got a reasonably heavy shower of rain. Mitchell goes to ground with the football. He's going to get a free kick.
A little bit late, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That free kick.
Very
little bit late.
Was it ever?
We've been sitting on him for 3 minutes.
Oh.
However, Creswell to Wright. Under 2 minutes remaining now. As Breman has been paid the mark, just forward of centre. Oh, look at this torpedo. Right into the square it goes. And the mark not quite taken. In fact, a bounce will be the result, but a booming punch.
He's got amazing timing.
Perfect kick, Todd Breman.
4 goals the margin. Is it going to be more? Is it going to be 5 from Wayne Campbell? One of the goals of the night from the boy from Golden Square. That's his 3rd. And the Tigers roll home.
Well, Sydney look as if they're going to mount a challenge, and they just don't go on with it. They really had their opportunities in the last quarter, and the game, despite the scores, I suppose, could have been won. But there's Campbell, the opportunist. His 3rd goal. Kicked through all of these goals coming in the second half.
Well, again, Wayne Campbell showing his class. There he is again. He's back to the centre and getting it out for the Tigers. Down towards Waitman. There's Stevie Wright trying to get in the hand pass. Good umpiring as it was held to him. And Stevie Wright in his last 40 seconds of AFL football. As umpire Greg Strooper bounces the ball. Tunbridge. Now that was Stuart Edwards trying to get it to Campbell. Here's Paul Kelly. He's trying to handball also, and the umpire sensibly will bounce.
Luff. Handball over the top to Kepler. He's had a pretty quiet night, Daryn Kepler. Goes long to the half-forward line. The Richmond players all up. The spoil is good. Scott Turner takes the hand pass. They're out of trouble on siren time. It's all over. Richmond avoid the wooden spoon. Sydney have the wooden spoon. And nice gesture by Dale Waitman, shaking the hand of Stevie Wright and saying, well played, son. So the end is there for Stevie Wright. There he is, the veteran now of 246 games. It must be a very sad moment for him. But just repeating that the big winners here tonight are Richmond. Sydney have the wooden spoon. Richmond won the reserves earlier very easily. And there is the ladder. Sydney on the bottom, Richmond 13. From the SCG, for now, good night to you all.
This has been a Seven Sports production.
As far as Sydney are concerned, I used to enjoy going to Sydney, watching their games, because they might have been short on ability, but you'd know that you'd get an effort from them. They'd tackle, they'd harass, they'd drag their opponents down. You could see a team really having a go. But now, they are pathetic. The way Richmond got the ball out of the centre, and that used to be Sydney's strong point. And
Scotty, if reading the media is correct, Buckenara has given them a terrible burst over the last week or so. Did they play as though they were exhausted, or what were they? Did they play?
Well, players like Dennis Carroll, the captain, I expected more from Dennis, but whether he's injured, I don't know. But it was not a spirited game. One player that they should take a leaf out of his book was Stevan Wright. Now, it was his last game. We realise he was in the twilight. That was his last game. But he went for the ball on one occasion, just put the hands on the ball. He got knocked in mid-air, but he still hung on to it, and he went straight at the ball and he laid it off with hands. It was terrific stuff, but there's just not enough guys in the side.
With all due respect, you didn't answer Bob's question.
What was that, Rob?
Well, he said, did Buckenara train them too hard during the week? Did they look tired?
Well, I don't know.
Right.
Fair enough. We've got
to kick a ball 60 metres from here to score.
That's a big kick.
It's
cleared it easily.
Magnificent kick. Don't ever doubt his ability to kick distances.
Just snapping out of a pack here.
They don't have the football.
Quite a clever kick with a wet ball.
Snap is good by Craig Smith, is it? It's a goal.
And here we've got Matthew Knights doing almost the same thing as his teammate Craig, a bit more difficult on his non-preferred foot and probably slightly further out, so it's an even better goal.
That is one of the most amazing goals you'll ever see.
I think Sandy liked that. Matthew Knights here. This is a good, well-balanced goal. A lot of players find it difficult to set themselves up in this way, kicking from this distance, but he did it quite well again with a wet ball. A good effort.
Go for home, he says. 4 goals.
Well, here we see Wayne Campbell, a regulation snap, very good concentration though, of course, you can't get them without that.
Djakovic here backs himself. Langford, not such a good tackle, but put himself under a lot of pressure, Djakovic, and that was a good finish.
And here's one of the best players in Australia at the moment, strutting his stuff. A little bit of a fumble, he didn't bang the ball down hard enough for the bounce. Gets away from him, he's able to get control of it, and really it's an absolutely top kick this. Superb skills by Daryn. What's this? It's a new way of going for the ruck knockouts. Top effort.
There, Barry Stone, another long goal here. In fact, this one must have been at least 70 metres because it cleared it easily in the end, and very similar to Brownless's goal early.
And here's a big long session over this. How long did we spend?
Time. We got here at 9. We just got in here, so.
Couple of hours.
And young Ben or Daryl Hart, one of the, who is it?
Ben.
Ben, yes. First thought of spoil, but had the mind to take it.
This man can certainly jump. Simon Minton-Connell.
So can this guy, Troy Gray. This was a nice, strong one grab mark, fine mark.